Bro, nobody told me my game was listed as Mario Kart World on this stream. What? Why is it? I think it's because when I did this challenge last time, when I streamed it last time, I originally was doing a Mario Kart stream and then I changed it, but I didn't change like the actual game on there. Because like there's like a game category you can put on your stream. I don't know where it shows up on the stream actually, but there's like a thing that says like, hey, what game are you playing? And you can like put in whatever game. Well, there you go. It's Stardew Valley now, so all is right with the world once again. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, friends, and welcome on back to whatever the heck we're doing here. This challenge doesn't have an official name, I guess. In my notes, I've been calling it the Gridlocked Challenge. I don't know if that's a name that's gonna stick, but it's because, you know, I'm locking myself to a grid of it, and that grid is the map, basically. I could go map locked, I guess. I don't know, but gridlocked is like an actual like word, so it made more sense in my brain. If you weren't here last time, no worries. Basically, all we have to do is, I mean, it is inspired by the Chunk Man challenge from RuneScape, yeah, but chunks aren't a thing in Stardew Valley. They're more maps, so I guess Map Man. But Chunk Man could also, I mean, just wear the inspiration on my sleeve, right? But basically the goal is to complete the game one map at a time. So we're on the farm. We can't leave the farm until we've done everything possible towards perfection, which is a lot. If you want to know how much we need to do, exclamation point checklist. There's also a link to the checklist in the description below the stream, so you can reference that. And actually, speaking of, I need to open that checklist myself so that I have it at the ready in case I actually manage to do anything here. I've completed one map already in the form of the farmhouse, which was not too bad. Basically just sleeping and reading or sleeping and watching the TV. And the farm is where it really gets going, so. Once I finish the farm, can I go back to the farm? Yeah. Yeah, once a map is unlocked, you can travel freely to and from that map. Not that that's going to be like a huge concern for a long time, because the farm's going to take quite a while to complete. So, in essence, right now, the challenge is it's like we got to break it into smaller micro challenges. And the challenge right now is to reach level 10 in all of our skills. I've got level 10 foraging already, but that's like the only easy one. So, we got our work cut out for us yet. Hold on, I gotta move my fan here. Ooh, I want to get it in a spot where it hits me, but not the microphone, so that it doesn't mess with the audio too much. At any rate, yeah, so this is a nice different sort of challenge from Fleeting Farm, whereas Fleeting Farm, you have to like plan, and it's very stressful a lot of the time. In this challenge, it's kind of just, you know, it's chill. You just go chop trees, do whatever, and hope for the best, basically. That said, we may not be chopping as many trees today because there's, as people have pointed out, actually shaking trees, just shaking the trees without chopping them is probably a better strategy because you have a higher chance of getting bait and bobber books, as well as like any other skill books, from shaking a tree versus each chop. I mean, if you fully chop down a tree, it's actually higher chance to get it from that than it is from shaking a tree. But the amount of extra time you have to put into chopping a tree, combined with the fact that once you chop a tree, newsflash, the tree's not there anymore, so you have to wait for another one to grow, is it adds up and makes it a lot. It makes shaking much more of an optimal strategy, I guess. So I'll probably be pivoting to that because, honestly, I think I was mostly just chopping trees because I had been chopping a lot of trees anyway in order to reach level 10 foraging in the first place. So the momentum just kept me going with that. I was like, well, I'm chopping trees and I know there's a chance for books, so I might as well just keep on going, right? Someone in chat was right. Yeah, there were a few people in chat mentioning that. It's been a common point. So, and I looked into it, I crunched the numbers, I did the math. And it does seem to bear out in the math that shaking the trees is going to be better time-wise for us. But that will necessitate some changes on the farm itself. But we'll get into that once we get onto the actual farm here. For right now, let's go ahead and play some daily games, shall we? A little Pokedoku, a little Puff Fertile. I'm going to play Metazua, actually. I haven't played my Metazua today, and I'm like, you know what? Since, I mean, a lot of the stream is going to be very samey once we get into actually Stardew, so we might as well start with a little more variety at the top here with just some good daily games. The chopping tree sound is very soothing, so at least I had that. That's true. I mean, I do like the act of chopping trees. It's very nice and soothing, but if I want to get this done in a reasonable time frame, I think I'm going to have to bite the bullet and just say, yeah, shaking trees is going to be better. You did Metazua in 2 today? That's impressive. Ooh, but can I do it even better with Kazoom in my ears? Let's see. Metazua. Animal. Raccoon. It's gotta be. It's gotta be every time. It's my starting animal of choice. It's a tetrapod. A tetrapod is any 4-limbed vertebrate animal. So this is a 4-limbed creature, which does not narrow it down that much, to be honest with you. I'm gonna be honest with you. This dude doesn't look like he has 4 limbs. But I guess I'll let the scientists be the judge of that one. Okay. Let's go with... Let's see if it's like a bird of any kind here. I mean, I see a seagull there. I might as well go with a seagull. Okay, not a bird in all likelihood. What about like a reptile here or an amphibian? Let's try like a chameleon. Nope. I probably should have known that, actually, because birds and reptiles are more closely related. Okay. What about... actually, maybe amphibians, because I don't know how closely... Well, amphibians and reptiles are probably pretty closely related. I see a freaking zebra here. I'm just gonna follow the pictures, man. See where they lead me. Nope. Okay. that's Laurasiatheria, bro. It's egg laying. A tetrapod is any 4-limbed. Tetrapods include all extant extinct amphibians and amniotes, with the latter in turn evolving to 2 major clades, the sauropsids and the synapsids. I don't think they're egg laying. I don't think that's the case here. But maybe you're right. Frog. Bullfrog. Oh. Okay. It do be a frog of some kind, potentially. Poison frog. The Harlequin poison frog. Well, there you go. It's just that easy. I should have trusted that initial instinct to go amphibians instead of reptiles. Not bad, man. That's a pretty easy one. Pretty easy. 14 guesses remaining out of the 20 that you start with. That's okay. I love myself a frog as well. One of my favorite animals for sure, no doubt. Fan puzzle from Disaster Strikes. That doesn't sound good. Kanto, normal, water, and monotype. I feel like we're going to get some... Based on these categories here, I feel like we'll get some new entries here. Kanto, normal, water, and monotype. Monotype from Kanto. Well, from Kanto, you got Blastoise here. G-Max Blastoise will be a water type or a monotype, technically. But for monotype, you might as well go with something that's not water or normal type, such as Mankey. And then for normal type, you got Chansey. So Chansey, G-Max Blastoise, and Mankey. Seems like a great start for me here. Kazoom is truly blessing us already. Blastoise, G-Max. And monotype Mankey. Mankey the monkey. Unova, there's actually quite a few from Unova, because that's one of my blind spots for sure. Unova starts for me right about here. So Samura will be our water type of choice. We need a normal type and just a monotype. So Purloin can be our monotype. Purloin, and do we have a normal type? We do, in the form of Minchino there. Easy. Oh my gosh. What do I owe this pleasure? Back to back? Kazoom into b_boss.ogg? This never happens, man. That's a rare sight, a rare occurrence. The next thing you know, they're gonna hit me with the raccoon song right after this. Blessed stream. Could today be another day where we get yet another bait and bobber? It remains to be seen, I guess. Regular Samurott. Monotype. I have one in mind. Purloin. That's right. Around this time last year, we had B-Boss into Kazoom. Your memory is astounding, Antonia. Paldea, normal, water, and monotype. Dude, I'm vibing. I'm vibing like a little bumblebee in my chair here. Searching for a Pokemon from the recent games. Mono, water, normal type. That is what I need. Palafin for water type. Knackley for monotype. And Mousehold family of 3, or family of, I think it's family of 3 for normal type. Easy, dude. Mousehold family of 3. Water type, Palafin. 0 or hero. And monotype was Knackley. Little Super Mario rock mushroom looking guy. What about the Dunsparce? The Dunsparce would have worked there as well, but I just went with the ones that I saw. And that's 9 new Pokedex entries, I believe. 9 for 9. That does not happen that often. The Dunsparce 3 segment. Look at that. Easy peasy, dude. Speaking of easy peasy, it's time to catch some fish. If only I could do that in the actual game. Unfortunately, we're restricted to books right now. Mermaidian, thank you for the 9 months of the Neutron level. Thank you. Close to 1 year. Thanks for all the streams. Luckily, you can be here today instead of watching the VODs. Happy to have you here, Mermaidian. On the Rare Wednesday stream. And Green Knight with the 9 months at the Neutron level. Thank you, thank you. Jumping on the train, hype train. There's bound to be more people that have these like member notifications, I think, because I was away for so long on my road trip. Ooh, we got the jumper here. Jumped right to the top, hung out there for a little bit, right back down to the bottom. Not super difficult, but a little jumpy. What does that scream to me? I'm gonna say that screams pufferfish, to be honest with you. Okay, not a bad guess. There's some overlap here, but not what we're looking for, obviously. Not oceanic. Does share a season, share some weather. Pufferfish is sun only, so this is going to be an all-weather fish. And time, it does have an overlap there, so it's not going to be like a late-night fish, because the pufferfish is only available 12 to 4, I'm pretty sure. So, how do you feel? A freshwater fish, reasonably jumpy. Maybe a Dorado. It probably was too easy to be a Dorado, but let's at least get some more information here. Okay. The weather is right, which is to be expected. Not available in the river, like the Dorado. So this could be a lake fish, potentially. This could be a specialty fish as well, now that I'm looking at it. Based on, like, just the time, the seasonality. We could try something like a stonefish here. Okay, we do have the specialty fish pattern. Okay, that's good to know. It's not a mines fish, though. Could this, perchance, be a... I don't think it's a void salmon. I really don't. Maybe a slime jack, though? Not a slime jack. Okay. Can this be Ginger Island? It can't, I don't think, because the pufferfish is available on Ginger Island. Or at least in the Pirate Cove. Maybe a wood skip. Nah, it was too hard to be a wood skip. It wasn't that hard, but it was, like, wood skip's not hard at all, I don't think. Yeah, maybe it's a little hard. I don't know, man. It can't be a void salmon, surely. Maybe it was a Ginger Island fish. Is there a world where that was a lionfish? Nah, I should have gone with my gut, man. I'm gonna miss it. What happened, dude? Go with my heart. Wood skip. I missed it. It was a void salmon? Nah, dude, not in my house. That was way too easy to be a void salmon. Are you kidding me? No shot that was a void salmon. The sleepiest void salmon in the world. Oh my gosh. Mrudala, thank you for the 29 months at the Electron level, by the way. Hope the new Wi-Fi provider lets you enjoy the stream. Best of luck to you. Hopefully YouTube and your Wi-Fi will be kind. I need some practice. Apparently, I'm out of touch. I'm out of touch with my fish. Hopefully I can do a little better on Stardew, our last game of the day before we get into things here. Pop in some corn here. Popped corn. Okay, there is a season overlap, but nothing else here. So it's grows faster than corn, worth more, does not regrow. A fruit could easily be a melon. And it is. And it is. No fan art showcase. I didn't have time to get the fan art together. I was busy doing other stuff this morning. I was running around helping my mom with some stuff, so unfortunately not. But I'll catch you on Thursday's stream. Might be. There we go. This is pretty good. I'll take this. I may have messed up the Pufferdle, but Stardoodle in 2. I'm happy with that. That doesn't happen every day. Usually it's at least like 3. As long as it's only delayed. No, I never show off fan art again. I'm sick and tired of your amazing talents being on display here. No, never again. No, of course. We're going to do more fan art in the future. Don't worry about it. I just missed it today because I was being too busy doing other things. All right. Let's go ahead and boot up Smappy and get the show on the road, shall we? Stardoodle in 1 is impossible. It's luck-based. I mean, all those Wordle-type games in 1 are luck-based, right? Including Wordle itself. There's not really a lot you can do. You just, like, you have to guess and at least try and get some information. But yeah, it's possible if you're lucky. If your luck stat is maxed out and you got good daily luck, then maybe you got a chance. All right, bring me back in. Steadfast Farm, year 5. The fact that this farm is on year 5, whereas Fleeting Farm that I've spent like way more time on is on year 4 is really funny to me. I don't know. I mean, obviously it's just the nature of this challenge because you have to like sleep a whole bunch and there's not a whole lot to do on each day versus Fleeting Farm where you're milking every day for what it's worth. But that is really funny to me. Welcome back to Steadfast Farm featuring Esme and our lovely little kitty cat Gem. Hello. All right, back to business as usual here. Well, I've got a little bit of ore that I can smelt here, so might as well do that. I don't see any reason to like hold on to ore, so I've just been smelting it as I get like enough to smelt it, which doesn't happen very quickly, but it does happen. Little purple mushrooms into there. What is this song? This is Alone with Relaxing Tea, I think, or something like that. Yeah, Sunroom, Alone with Relaxing Tea. This Caroline's Sunroom song. It's a good one, man. It's nice and relaxing. All right. If you missed it at the start here, we have decided, I've crunched the numbers and figured out that in order to maximize our chances of getting bait and bobber, which is the prime book we're looking for from these trees, it's the reason I have this big tree farm going on here. Instead of chopping every tree, the best thing to do for us mathematically is to just go and shake each tree. That way, every day we can return to the tree and have a new chance at shaking them. Because when you shake them, it is a 0.024% chance to drop the book. Versus on when you chop a tree, every chop is a 0.004 chance to give bait and bobber, which across 10 chops for a full tree is better than shaking a tree. Especially because the first chop on a tree does actually count as shaking the tree anyway. But then you have the problem that you don't have the tree again to chop until another one grows, obviously. And you can just shake a whole bunch of trees a lot faster than you can chop them down. So the plan going forward is going to be to chop, or is to let all these trees grow and just shake them every day. That is the plan that we're going to be sticking to from here on out. It does necessitate some changes, though, because if we have a whole bunch of like full-grown trees around, then they're going to be spreading their seeds into these little pathways in between, right? And those seeds, they can't grow into full trees, but they can grow into saplings like this and block our path, and that'll be getting real annoying real fast. So to prevent that, we're going to have to lay a lot of paths. Thankfully, I have a lot of wood, so this should be all right. I'm going to grab this. I'm going to go find some pathways here. The only pathways I have access to are this wood path, which I don't like the look of, but it's the only one we can make out of wood. The other ones are gravel and cobblestone path, which I do like the cobblestone look, but we simply don't have access to nearly as much stone as we do wood. Like, where's my stone? I think it's in here. I have 838 stone, which sounds like a lot, and it is, but it adds up so slowly because we mainly only get that from the quarry. What year is this again? This is year 5, this challenge right now. Alright, so I'm going to turn all of this full stack, into wood paths right here. Oh, I thought I could do the 999 trick where you do it all in one spot. I guess that's only at shops. 999 wood paths, and we just start laying them down, basically everywhere. Put them anywhere that tree seeds could possibly spread. We do have torches in some spots, which work just as well as paths, so we can leave those alone because they'll be helpful for lighting, obviously. So that is fine. And we basically just go one little pathway at a time here. There's a torch in there. Okay, that's fine. It's going to look a little messy, especially because things are going to be broken up by the torches. But it's a necessary evil, I think. Put some pathways down here. If I don't want this challenge to take like 10,000 real-life years, then I think this is what you got to do. Okay, that's fine. We can just leave that like that because the tree seeds are not going to spread onto... Like, there are certain tiles here where the tree seeds won't spread, so we don't need to worry about pathing like all this stuff, but anything where I feel like a tree seed could even potentially spread, you're getting pathed. You're getting paved over. Pave paradise, put up a freaking parking lot, man. But in this case, it's not a parking lot. It's a wooden pathway system, the likes of which we've never seen. When you go, like, hiking and stuff, though, sometimes you do see, like, a bunch of, like, wooden pathways through... Like, that there'll be, like, overgrown wood pathways. I haven't been hiking in a while, but I always liked finding those, like, little hidden wooden pathways that are, like, just off the trails or sometimes part of the trail, but... Am I going to plant something in the summer? Yeah, I'm saving my mixed seeds, any mixed seeds that I get for the summer. I might as well just path this entire situation here, to be honest with you. Just be careful not to accidentally step outside. Otherwise, challenge invalidated. Mixed seeds have the best experience yield when you do plant them in summer. So that is the goal here. Extremely proud of your fan art. The best you've ever done, you think? I did see it. I saw the fan art, Echo, and I have to agree, it's pretty wonderful. Is that a torch there? I thought it might have been a seed. I couldn't quite tell. Unfortunately, I didn't get the chance to show off the fan art today, but rest assured, tomorrow I got you. Okay. Another bonus to this pathway is that pathways on the farm do give you a plus 0.1 speed when you're walking on them, specifically only on the farm. So that'll help us like get around a bit faster. It'll make shaking trees even that little bit faster, and it's not a speed difference that you really feel when it's happening. At least I don't. But over the course of however many dozens, if not hundreds of hours we're going to be on the farm running around here, I think it's going to make a pretty substantial difference. I know it's not going to happen for a long time, by the way, but as I lay these pathways here, I can't help but think forward to the time when I'm ultimately going to have to, like, pick up all these pathways. I guess you could just bomb them, and that's functionally, that'll be a lot easier. Honestly, that'll be really cathartic when that happens, because I was thinking I would have to, like, chop them all manually individually, but no, I can get bombs, so they'll decay eventually. Pathways don't decay as far as I know. Fences decay, but pathways do not. Might as well finish up here. Okay. I think this top section is looking pretty good. There might be some little gaps that I still need to fill in, like right here. But overall, we'll find those gaps in time, I'm sure, as like seeds spread into those spots. Because if there are any gaps, those will be the only spots where seeds can spread. So they'll become pretty obvious pretty quickly once trees do start spreading their seeds. Right now, though, let's just move on to the lower sections. Missed a spot next to the house. I will return there, thank you. This is probably going to take at least a couple of days, couple of in-game days to get all the pathing down that I want to get down, but it'll be worth it. Once the infrastructure is set up, then, and especially once the trees start growing into their full potential, which anything that doesn't grow by green rain in summer, which, I mean, that's still far enough away. We're halfway through spring right now. But obviously green rain will expedite the process once we get there. So if there are any stragglers by that point that haven't grown, then we'll be all right. Get rid of that. I'm going to have to replant that tree. That's okay. I don't know how many stacks of wood. This is probably going to take at least 2 stacks. Trees shouldn't be able to spread onto the pathway here. Missed a spot beside the house, right up here. Thank you. No chopping anymore. No, I looked into the math, and unless I'm mistaken, which, I mean, if anyone wants to do the math, if you go to the Bait and Bobber page on the wiki, it does list the exact, like, percentage chances of like, how likely it is to get from shaking versus chopping a tree. And I did the math, and I feel like shaking is going to be better for us in the long run because it's just faster. It's faster to do it. You can do it more frequently if you just let the trees stick around each day. Overall, it's just going to be better. No, thank you. I trust your math. I don't trust my own math, so if anyone does want to double-check the math and they're good with, like, probabilities and stuff, then by all means. I love this song, man. This is such a good one. r/we trust the math. I like that. Did I miss any obvious spots here? Nothing my eyes are spotting right now, so keep on going. Ooh, can I even get in behind here? I could if I chop one of these mushroom logs out of the way. But then they'll be at a sync with the other mushroom logs. So instead I'm going to do this. I need to wait for a bunch of trees to grow anyway, so I might as well just sack that and put that in there. I love it, but I'm not good at it. That's fair, honestly. That's like me with like high level math for sure. Like I'm pretty decent with like basic math and even like some slightly more advanced concepts, but once you start like watching the stuff that like, you know, math YouTubers do, then it gets a little above my pay grade. The Matt Parkers of the world, you know. Letters should not be in math. Well, I regret to inform you, that ship has sailed a very long time ago. Letters have been part of math for basically as long as math has been, like, a concept that people study, I think. Alright, pop some of these down here. This is a little awkward, this space down here, just because there's so many, like, zones. I guess I don't really have to put paths on these zones, because these aren't parts where I'm going to be walking anyway. But for completeness' sake, it just wouldn't feel right if I left those unfilled in. You know, your math is getting harder when they run out of Latin characters and start using the Greek alphabet. Yeah. Yeah, once you start getting into sigmas and omegas and, you know, aleph null and all this high level stuff, that's where it starts to lose me a little bit. I can understand it if someone explains it to me. At least most of it I can understand, but can I use it practically, or can I, you know, exercise enough critical thought to make any profound realizations with that information? No, not really. Not so much. All right, monsters are starting to spawn. I didn't realize it was even getting that late. But that's all right. We like monsters around here. One combat experience at a time. We're getting to level 10. 1 XP, baby. That's where it loses me. Like I said, I mean, when I was back in high school, I took I was pretty good at math. I took higher level math courses because it comes naturally to me. I like numbers and I like playing around with it. How did you get back there? Can I hit that guy? You can hit him past the chest. Okay, that's... well... Oh, this is a bit awkward. Yeah, a lot of math comes pretty naturally to me. And I'm sure, like, if I really got myself in it and got passionate about it, then I could, like, understand those higher level concepts. Like, I could have gone to university for math in some capacity, I'm sure, if that's where my heart was. But it wasn't. I did take, when I was in university, the 1 year that I went to university, I took some math courses, and the one I always remember is like the math proof courses, where it's like, okay, you know how to do all this math, now you have to explain why the math works, and you have to start working with like axioms and proof by contradiction and proof by induction, and that's where I really started to like be like, okay, why don't I realize that this is important stuff, and I realize that there are mathematicians whose like job it is to like figure all this stuff out, but I don't have a passion for it, and I don't care, and I'm bad at it. So like, why does 2 + 2 = 4? I don't know. If I got 2 apples and I put another 2 apples down, then I got 4 apples. Isn't that good enough? Apparently not. Instead, here's a 300-page paper explaining why 2 + 2 = 4, including all the basic fundamentals of like how the universe works. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Good for you. If you're here for that, I commend you, but that's not for me. I fear that sounds miserable. Sincerely, a communications major. That's true, by the way. I don't know how long specifically the like paper that proves that 2 + 2 = 4 is. There's like a famous paper that proves it, or that was the initial proof for it, and it was like 300 something pages or something like that. Maybe that was only like a part of that paper or something. I don't know. I might not have all my facts straight on that one, but that sort of stuff is important, because if we can't prove something that basic is true, then are we really sure it's true? That's the thing. I understand that it's important. I just it's over my head as to how to do it, or like, I guess I just don't have that spark of passion for wanting to understand it, right? And if you do, then like I said, more power to you. I recognize its importance. I'm not going to say like, yeah, whatever, I don't really care what those nerds are up to. What do they really know? No, they're very talented nerds. Okay. I think pretty much all of this section has been successfully covered. It looks pretty good to me. It's all either got torches or pathways. Happy salmonberry season, by the way. Don't really care that much about salmonberry season in this challenge. I've already got the salmonberries that I would need. Like, I need to ship at least 1 salmonberry, but beyond that, I don't think I need them for anything. That's really common for people that can do math easily without proper learning. You fell into that. You can do algebra and geometry without knowing the formulas, and when you're told to show your work, you can't. That's kind of where I'm at, yeah. Like, I can show my work to a certain degree, but I do reach eventually a point where it's like, okay, but do you really need me to explain something like this basic, this fundamental? And once you get to the higher level maths, then yeah, it is important to explain like everything down to the most fundamental so that there's absolutely no way anyone can question it. That way we have like a full understanding as to exactly why and how something works. But for me, it's good enough to just say, like, 2 + 2 = 4 because it does. That's fine by me. I'm sure there's much deeper reasons. And once you get into, like, more complex problems, obviously it becomes a lot harder to prove things. But for me, I'm like, you know what? I've got 2 things. I've got another 2 things. That makes 4 things. That's all the proof I really need. I guess the issue there comes in, like, when you don't actually have physical things to help you prove it. Like, if you're just trying to prove it in the abstract sense, which a lot of math is abstract. You're just working with numbers in their, like, primordial form rather than working with them in physical space. I think that's where a lot of people, myself included, can get confused for sure. Especially when it comes to concepts like infinity. Like, I understand why infinity can be useful, but, like, infinity in practice doesn't seem to exist in the universe unless the universe is infinitely big. But, like, I don't know, it's for like a lot of like physical concepts, why would you ever care about like an infinite number of anything, right? Because like the universe is only, you can only get so small, so there's only like a finite number of things that you can fit in there anyway. But that's getting to, see, that's getting to the, once you start talking about infinity, I know what I know from, like, Vsauce videos and stuff, so I have a very tangential layman's understanding of things. I've watched Vsauce's video about the Banach-Tarski paradox, where you take one sphere and break it down into its component parts and manipulate it in such a way that you, without adding any extra material, you end up with 2 spheres. I've watched that video like probably more than like 10 times, like lifetime, and I still don't really think I fully get it. What challenge is this? We're trying to complete everything possible on the farm without leaving the farm. That is at least the first component of this challenge. Ultimately, it's to complete the entire game 1 map at a time. But that starts with the farm, because there's so much to do on the farm. Exclamation point checklist if you want to see the list of, like, goals that we have to complete. This is the worst padding in the game, IMO. It's not the most aesthetically pleasing, especially, like, the way it, like, connects in unpredictable and weird ways. I agree with that, but, hey, you know what? We gotta work with what we got here. We don't really have too many other options. Can I get over in here? Yeah. You can do some chores along with Chloe. Excuse you? Chloe is taking a break right now from her fleeting farm duties. This is actually Esme. This is a new character. A new character in the echelon. We're still trying to figure out what her whole deal is, but... A half plus a quarter plus an eighth equals 1. I know that one. I also know the one that's like 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 all the way to infinity equals -1/12. I've seen that proof before. And I'm still not clear on whether that's actually like a true statement or if there's like a flaw in that proof. And I don't know, man. Ooh, an acorn. What that? Esme is definitely antisocial. What gave you that impression? What could possibly give you that impression? Anyway, who are all these freaking people, man? She's actually met more people than I would have thought here. Demetrius, Clint, Marnie, Kent, Robin, Lewis. All these people that just, like, come to your farm at some point, I guess. Me and Esme are your laundry buddies for the day. Happy to be along for the ride. I gotta do some laundry myself. I haven't done my laundry from my road trip yet. I was away for long enough. It's definitely due at this point. All right, pathways all the way down here, and I think we're pretty good. Like I said before, there's probably some little gaps that we'll have to fill in due time here. I've got exactly 4 wood paths left. Does anyone see anything to fill in here that's not either a torch or a pathway? It's easy to look at this and get cross-eyed pretty quick, man. These pathways crisscrossing every which way. Right here, maybe? No, there's a torch in there. Screenshot? I don't know if my brain could handle a screenshot of this. At least not looking at it with like a fine-tooth comb. I guess I can put some pathways on this bridge. No, I can't. Never mind. I was thinking just like to connect it and give me the speed buff across the bridge. But no dice, I'm afraid. I think we're good. I think we are indeed good. I put down a pathway somewhere, man. Where did I put down that pathway? I put it like under the house somewhere. It's gone forever. Oh, well, that happens. If I eventually ever move my house, then I'm sure that'll be a nice little surprise underneath, but... Go pet Gem real quick. All right. I think... Is it time to start shaking trees now? Here's the other thing about shaking trees. This is like a downside to shaking trees, but it's one that I'm willing to accept. Is that you don't always remember which trees you've shaken. At least I don't. You have to follow like a pattern, right? I saw the blue and I was excited for a second. But if we just zigzag like up and down like this, we should be okay. Follow this pattern of like going in like column by column, but it still can be a little tough to remember exactly where you are, especially if I'm like in the middle of like reading chat or I'm on some kind of like tangent or something and I just like forget where I am. That's all right. For right now, this is fine. These mushroom logs are also going to get in the way a little bit of the column strategy here. We'll figure it out, though. I'm sure we'll figure out what the meta is going to be here in due time as more trees start to grow in. But right now, I'll just walk around, shake the trees. It is less satisfying to shake the trees than to chop the trees. You don't get the satisfying like ka-thunk sound of chopping the trees. You just get the little rustle of the shaking, and it's just not as tactile of a feeling either, but. I can't ignore the math. The math, especially across such long periods of time as we're going to be playing on this challenge, the math bears out so much more in your favor if you're shaking the trees, I think, versus chopping. Tree fertilizer. I do have the means to make some tree fertilizer, but honestly, like, we're going to be sleeping enough days, and we don't need these trees, like, right away, that I'm not too pressed about it. Especially because the materials for tree fertilizer, specifically stone and fiber, are not super renewable. They're renewable, but they're slow to renew compared to the likes of like wood. I think I've already got this. All right, that would appear to be all of the trees. I shook all those trees and all I got were 3 acorns and a mystery box. Maybe chopping is the way to go after all. You had a calculus teacher talk about a proof that was, what is the difference between a duck? Wait, what is the difference between a duck, a vest, because pants have no sleeves? Am I okay? Did I read that all right? That sentence didn't make sense to me. Is that the point? I'm scared. Lol, same. Okay, so you wrote it right. It's just, I don't understand. Whoa, who got a horse, though? Sophie, congratulations on your horse, my friend. absolutely wonderful. It's going to be a long time before Esme gets her horse, I'll tell you that. But that's plenty of time for more people in chat to get more horses. It's the greatest moment of your life. I hope it's the start of many great moments of your life. Let this not be the peak of your life. Let this be the first peak of many that you will yet conquer. Pop some acorns away in there. I might as well stay out a little bit just to... Yeah, we got some monsters and stuff around here. Oh, whoops. I gotta be careful about chopping those trees down. Although the nice thing is that once the trees all grow in, then I can scythe to my heart's content because there's not going to be any little baby trees to worry about breaking like that. Very nice. Is shaking both efficient for both IRL time and in-game days? I think if we were worried entirely about in-game days, I could probably put some pathway down here. Now looking at that. How much do I need there? 1, 2, 3, 4. If we were worried about pathing, or if we were worried about in-game days, I actually think chopping trees is more efficient. But for real time, there's no contest. Shaking trees is going to be faster for us here, I'm pretty sure. I did have some pathways left in here. Boop. If I hadn't put that one down beneath the house, I would have, like, exactly the right amount. Oh, well. Can't do much about it now. I don't think I can just, like, pickaxe and hit it. Maybe I can if I knew, like, the exact tile that it was on. Oh, wait, I only needed 3. I'm silly. I'm just gonna get rid of that, then. Alright, let's lure this bat to a spot away from the baby trees. Ooh, look at all the slimes over here. Wait. Monsters spawning like crazy tonight. We should do a horse race testing stream to see if the odds are exactly 50%. A horse race testing stream. See, I hear that, and I think all I can think of when I hear horse race at this point is Uma Musume. Chat, I did a run of Uma Musume Pretty Derby last night, and I got my first A rank Uma. I've been grinding to try and get an A rank, to try and get anything above a B plus rank. I've been getting Bs and B pluses. I finally got an A rank, which may not mean a lot to most of you, but it was way harder than I thought it would be. Congrats, thank you. Proof or it didn't happen? I mean, I can go open the game right now if you want me to. This is the hilltop farm, yeah. All right, let's head to bed here. There's still a mountain to climb as far as, like, letter grades go. A slime escaped during the night. You hate to see it. A rank is not the highest you can get to. You can get, like, A+, S, and S+, I think. So I've still got my work cut out for me if I want to hit all those milestones eventually, but I'm happy with it. I don't even know how, like, possible S ranks are at this point in the game with, like, the resources available to me. I'm making you want to play this horse girl game. If you're... I mean, it depends on whether or not you're, you have the right mindset to play a gacha game. Because I know for some people, like, a gacha game is just like a non-starter in the first place, regardless, because, like, they don't want to interface with that style of game. Or, like, or maybe, like, you have, like, a personality that makes it, like, too easy for you to, like, spend money on stuff like that, so you want to stay away from it, which I understand that. But man, is it fun. I find it so freaking fun, man. I have no shame in how much fun I find that game. Ooh, my mushroom logs are all set. I think at this point, from, like, in this area, I should maybe do rows instead of columns when I'm shaking these trees. That way I can go, like, around like this, circle back down to here, especially when we got mushrooms here. This one freaking big stump is in, like, the worst spot, though. Absolutely hate that. anyone here play that new Pokemon phone app? Like, how new? There's like several Pokemon phone apps. Like the ones I know, you got Pokemon Sleep, you got Pokemon TCG Pocket. Oh, I'll need to come back for the rest of these mushroom logs. My inventory's freaking full. It's not out yet, but there's Pokemon Champions. That's the one they've been hyping up, and that does look like a lot of fun. As a kid who played a lot of Pokemon Battle Revolution on the Wii back in the day, I am stoked as heck for Pokemon Champions. It looks like a lot of fun. It looks like a great way to be able to like interface with Pokemon battles, like competitive battling at a higher level, without actually investing like the hundreds of hours that players often have to invest into getting like good quality Pokemon. At least on the surface, that's what it looks like to me. You loved that Wii game? Battle Revolution? Oh my gosh, I was like obsessed with that game when it first came out. That was like when I was first getting into like my big Pokemon craze to begin with. When I first became like a Pokemon nerd in any capacity, because my first Pokemon games were Diamond and Pearl, and that was like the same generation when Battle Revolution came around. Your brother made fun of you so hard. Well, who's laughing now? Pokemon's like the biggest media franchise in the world, baby. And we got another Battle Revolution and everything but name coming around. What are all the mushroom logs for? One of the goals is to earn 10 million gold. So I figured mushroom logs are probably our best source of income to eventually do that. And honestly, like, I'm not even worried about that goal, because the amount of time we're going to have to commit to doing all the other stuff here is we're probably just going to earn that money passively as we go on. You have a Battle Revolution promo poster next to you in your room. I didn't realize we had so many people who even like knew what Battle Revolution was, man. Let alone have posters or played it as religiously as I did. It was a great game. I feel like anytime I bring it up, people are either like, oh yeah, I kind of remember that game, or they have like no idea what it was. And it's a tragedy, because it was like really fun. It was so good. I never played Pokemon Stadium, but I feel like it's like an evolution on the Pokemon Stadium formula based on what I do know about those games. You're predicting we get one bait and bobber book within the next 45 minutes of the stream. I mean, I would be lying if I said that I didn't hope that streamer luck came into play on this challenge, and that's part of why I want to stream this, because on my first stream of this challenge that I did, that was my first bait and bobber pull. So can we go 2 for 2 is my question here. Dude, I'm gonna have to start remembering like which pathways to take, because that stump gets in the way. It was nice when I just had the one pathway to worry about, that I could just like follow mindlessly back to the house. Maybe I should make like a cobblestone pathway that like cuts through this, so that it's more obvious like which pathway I should take when I'm like coming back, to avoid those like dead ends and stuff. That might not be a bad idea. For right now, it's fine though. I'm sure I'll just get used to it in time. Next, I should try maxing fishing with just bait and bobber. I mean, maybe if I had access to, like, the bookseller, that might be a little more feasible. Although I don't know what you have to trade at the bookseller in order to get bait and bobber in the first place. Anything else I want to do here? How are my slimes doing? I haven't checked in on them. We want to let them breed a little more for sure. You knew I would get lost without a track? I didn't even think about it as I was putting the pathways down, but now it seems so obvious that I would get lost, yeah. More trees are coming in every day. We're going to be living in... I mean, you're not going to notice this... You're not going to see this as the hilltop farm before too long. We're going to be looking at, like, the forest farm. More than the actual forest farm itself does. I don't know, maybe I will go back to chopping trees. We'll see. I mean, the math is definitely there for shaking trees, but this just doesn't seem as fun, man. And part of me is like, don't I want a fun max? Shouldn't I be doing this the way that I want to do it? I don't know. I've already committed to putting down all these pathways. But something about it just doesn't feel right, man. Wait, there's a pathway missing right here. Ooh. Petitioning for less flash on the daily photo. Is that an option that I can set? Mod options. Daily screenshot. Visual effects. Get that out of here. Save and close. There you go. I'm not like sensitive to the flash, so I don't really like notice it that much, but now that you pointed out. I can do a smaller grove of trees for chopping. Nah, I think if I was gonna do chopping, I would want to do like all or nothing kind of thing. I wouldn't want to like make things too complicated for myself. And having to like maintain one grove while making sure it doesn't like bleed into an area that like where I want to actually chop or just shake the trees and like section it off and everything. It's just like, I just don't feel like doing that. Crimson caught a stream after ages. Been watching the road-like videos while recovering from a painful surgery. Well, I'm sorry you had to have a painful surgery, but I hope you recover speedily. And I'm happy to be here for you while you do. Welcome on in. Might even want a marked path that touches all the trees for optimal shaking. Now that's some next level strategy right there. If we could find an optimal... Isn't that like a famous mathematical problem, though? To find, like, the optimal path between a series of points? Like the traveling salesman problem? Isn't that the... Would we be trying to solve that? I guess we don't have to find the optimal path. We just have to find, like, a pretty good path. So you definitely don't want to end up here, because that's just a dead end every which way you slice it. That is the traveling salesman. I'd never heard of that before. Before I did in the Master Angler challenge, or in the Master Angler video, I did a section on like trying to find the shortest path between like all the various points that I had to fish at. And there were some comments that brought it up. And I was like, ooh, I'd never heard about this before. It's a solvable problem, not an impossible one. Okay, that makes a difference then. If it's solvable, then someone's probably made a calculator online for it that I can piggyback off of. Although maybe not in this exact context here. I'm going to keep doing that a lot, I think. Maybe a different type of wood path for your daily through trees. Unfortunately... Souza, we do not have a different kind of wood path. This is the only path I can currently make. All others I'd have to, like, buy from Robin, and, well, I'll leave that as an exercise to the viewer to figure out why I can't do that. What I can do, though, is I can smelt some copper here. Stone path would be possible, but stone is a precious resource. I don't know what I'm saving for exactly, but I feel like I should save it as much as I can until I need to use it for something. But if we, you know, push comes to shove, I might do some stone pathing. Alternatively, just put a path in the area of blocked areas. A path in the area of blocked area. Oh, so like put like cobblestone down in like a dead end area. So that way I know to like avoid that area. Maybe torches on top of the paths. I don't believe you can put torches on top of a path. Unless I'm mistaken. Always goes faster than I remember, or than I think. I'm so used to smelting iridium in Fleeting Farm that like the furnace is working this fast on copper. It's a nice little surprise. Replace the optimal path with torches. That could be a good idea. Let me get some purple mushrooms going in here. For right now, I'm content to just keep doing this the way that I've got it right here. I think I'll figure it out in due time. I'll figure out like what the best pathway is, and then maybe we change up the pathway. But I already took so much time putting down this pathway, I don't want to go around now and like pick it up. Use cobblestone pathways. You know what? Maybe I should. Maybe I should at least do... I think I'm going to do what I originally did, now that I think about it. Or what I originally said is I'm going to make... I'll make cobblestone pathway, and I'll use that for, like... Well, do I want to use that to mark, like, a path that's, like, the path of least resistance through the trees? Or do I want to... So that I can, like, know, like, once I'm backed out, once I make it through, then it's, like, the path to get home? Or do I want to do something like you were saying in chat, where I'd, like, mark off dead ends and stuff? There's a few different ways you could do it. The sunk cost fallacy. We're probably going to be running into that a lot in this challenge. I have a sneaking suspicion. Bro, where'd that pine cone go? There it is. Not that I really need the pine cones, but still. What percentage of perfection do I think I can achieve? That's honestly a great question. I don't know what percentage of perfection I'm going to achieve by the time I finish everything that I can do on the farm here. I don't even have, like, a great guess. It'll be a pretty low percentage for sure. But it will be a percentage. With the amount of stuff we were able to, like, ship and, like, you know, reaching max level and all the skills, it will be a distinct percentage. But probably less than, like, 5%. I don't know. I don't feel like we're going to be making any huge waves here. I should chop the trees. The chance of me getting a book is higher if chopping. That is true, but it takes more, like, real time to chop versus, like, you can shake so many trees in the same amount of time that it would take to chop a single tree, that the math for shaking trees does bear out better here. That said, I do miss chopping trees. Someone did leave a comment on the first VOD I did of this, and it's honestly something I might do instead here. Instead of just, like, shaking all the trees. Oh, I saw the blue. I was so excited. Is, what did they say? They said to, like, chop all the trees until fall. Chop all the trees until fall, and then once you're, like, at the start of fall, start letting them grow out. That way, during the winter, you have trees to shake. Instead of having, like, nothing to do throughout the winter, which that might be a good compromise. No way to get any speed buffs, not that I know of, other than the speed buff you get from pathways on the farm, the, like, 0.1 speed that you get. Which is technically better than nothing. On the most basic level, the most basic fundamental level. I should also preface, by the way, this probably won't be as long of a stream as, like, as usual streams. Because usually I end up streaming for, like, 4 to 5 hours when I'm doing Fleeting Farm. Or if not 5 to 6 hours lately. The streams have been getting a little longer for Fleeting Farm. But streams like these ones, where it's, like, kind of a lot of the same thing over and over again, I think they can wear on you faster. Or they wear on me faster anyway, so I'll probably... I don't know how long I'm going to do this stream, but it'll probably be a shorter stream than usual. Ember Firebender, thank you for the 18 months at the Electron level. A year and a half. How the time flies, eh? Ooh, Sunfish. This Sunfish is for you, Ember. There you go. Didn't know if farm slimes can drop coffee beans, but kegs are expensive. Slimes cannot drop coffee beans. That's only dust sprites. Which unfortunately are not one of the monsters that can show up on the farm. If only. We can get serpents eventually, which I guess do drop spicy eels, but that's not until like combat level 9. So we got a ways to go before that, because I'm currently combat level 2. And we're still going up just 1 experience point at a time. No coffee empire for Esme. Not anytime soon, unfortunately. Can I try to put a torch on a path before you go off to work? I'll give it my best, Souza. Let's see. Oh, you can put a torch on a path. You can't put a path on a torch, but you can put a torch on a path. Today I learned. I honestly had no idea. I mean, it makes sense from like a physical perspective. Like if you're trying to like pave over a torch, you can understand why that wouldn't really work. But if you're just trying to put a torch down on a pre-existing path, then like it makes sense. But from like a game friction perspective, that's bogus. Let me put my paths down on my torches. Don't make me like pick up the torch to then put the path back down to then put the torch back down anyway. That's ridiculous. Do I look like the kind of person that's willing to waste my time like that? I don't think so. A train is passing through Stardew Valley. Shaking my head. Can't reach that train anytime soon. What do you mean, yes? Concerned Ape, fix it. Torches on sprinklers was revolutionary for you. For you and a lot of other people, I think. Torches on sprinklers were like a pretty big thing. I like it, but I never used torches all that much. For me, I was like usually fine with just like a glow ring as my only light source and just walking around. I didn't really care about having the rest of my farm lit up too much, but I can see the appeal for sure, especially if, you know, you're doing more aesthetically minded things. But like if I wanted to do like aesthetic lighting, I guess you either want to like have torches in inconspicuous spots, which would be like on sprinklers, or like hidden behind bushes or trees or something like that, so you don't really see the torches, but you still get the light out of it. Which obviously, I mean, you still see the torches on the sprinklers, but you get what I mean. Or more like, you know, things that blend in better. Like lampposts and maybe campfires, depending on like the aesthetic you're going for. Hide a lot behind trees and bushes. That makes sense. I've seen people do that, yeah, behind trees and bushes seems to be, like, the torch placing meta. Oop. Get tunnel vision for the burglar's ring, and you forget to craft a glowstone ring, so your farm is frequently very dark. I mean, usually I end up getting I don't even craft a glowstone ring initially myself either. I usually end up getting just a glow ring either from one of the bundles, or it's like a monster drop, or like a crates and barrels. Something like that. There's quite a few different ways you can get a glow ring. Just by, like, playing the game and naturally stumbling upon one. You're a lamppost lover. I love the lampposts from an aesthetic perspective. I just wish they weren't so darn expensive. Got a question? Shoot, Woolen Feet. Go for it. Also, I'm grappling with my own feelings, and I feel in my heart of hearts, chat, I feel like I need to chop trees. I can't explain to you why, but I have, even though mathematically I know it's probably the wrong thing to do. I want to chop the trees, man. I want to chop the freaking trees, okay? I'm chopping. I'm going back to my roots here. Until fall. Yeah, I'll mix it up because, like, it is annoying in winter when you don't have anything to do. There's, like, no trees to chop. So I think until, like, around the start of fall, or, like, halfway through fall, then we let some trees grow from there. That way we at least have some to shake throughout the winter. But I think this is, honestly, The moment I first chopped that first tree, I felt such a warm relief through my bones. I was like, yes, this is who I'm meant to be, man. Maybe this whole challenge, maybe I don't even realize this or didn't realize this, but maybe this whole challenge has just been an excuse for me to chop trees. My true calling in life. Wait, did I get Woolenfeet's question? What was Woolenfeet's question? Is it worth staying up late to get the potential monsters for dropping the book? I mean, there is a chance for the monsters to drop the book. It's pretty low. It's better than the trees, but you get so few monsters and you have to wait so late in the day that I don't personally think it would be worth it. But if I happen to stay up late into the night anyway by, like, chopping trees or doing whatever, like working on something else, then, like, you might as well, right? Art on the lumberjack and the horse girl. Pretty much, honestly. Put me in a room, give me a game where I can chop trees and race horse girls, and I'll be happy for the rest of my life. I do need to stay up late into the night to kill monsters because I need level 10 combat. I mean, it helps to stay up late into the night, but that's why we're breeding slimes as well. Breeding slimes is easier to get combat experience that way, or at least, like, theoretically quicker. Because, like, the slimes will breed as we're doing other chores and stuff anyway. And then we can just go call them every so often. Tree diversity is beautiful. It's mostly pine trees. Just because that's just how it's kind of ended up. But I do like to try and, like, anytime I do get extra acorns or maple seeds... you know, I think I've got some acorns and maple seeds in my chest, so I might run and grab those so I can, like, mix it up a little bit here. Especially because part of the rationale of me putting down so many pine trees was originally for the mushroom logs to be able to produce purple mushrooms. But then I was corrected in the VOD comment when I said that, because apparently it's not pine trees, it's maple trees that actually produce purple mushrooms. So maple trees are the ones we want. Oh my gosh, look at all the acorns and the freaking maple seeds, dude. Holy. Okay, yeah, we'll start planting some maple seeds here. I have far fewer maple seeds than the other seeds. But the way to get more maple seeds is to plant maple seeds. So let's get to it. White Nightbot, what happened? The wiki command has been broken for a little bit. I've looked into trying to fix it myself, and I don't think I have the technical know-how, because everything looks like right to me. I've never changed the wiki command, so it must have been something that changed with the wiki itself. I'll look into it a little bit deeper. A couple more trees over here. Now that I've let all these trees grow for, like, so many days, it's going to take me a while to catch up again, but it's worth it, man. I'm in my element now. I don't know why my brain is like this. It just is. And I'm not going to apologize for it. The fact that I know on an intellectual level that this is not the optimal way to do it, but my brain still bucks against the... It grates like sandpaper against the way that is actually optimal to do it, is like, I don't know, I start to make, like, bargains in my head is like, well, how much worse is chopping trees versus just shaking the trees? Because that extra inefficiency may be worth it, depending on who you ask. And to me, it does feel worth it. I haven't run the numbers well enough to know, like, the exact differences. I did do some, like, back of the napkin math before I started the stream today, and I think that chopping one full tree down does give you better odds to get a book versus just shaking a single tree. But I think shaking 3 trees is better than chopping down 1 tree. So it's like a 3-to-1 ratio there. And obviously you can shake 3 trees a lot faster than you can chop down a single tree. which is why it would in theory make more sense to just shake all the trees all the time, but chopping equals more hits, and more hits equals more chances to proc. I mean, that is part of what my brain is telling me, even though I know that each of those hits is like significantly lower of a chance to proc than just shaking a tree, because shaking a tree is 0.024% to get a book versus each chop is 0.004. It's like significant. It's like a sixth as good per chop. But it is more hits. It is more hits. Can you shake and chop? Well, that's actually the beauty of it, is that the first chop counts as a shake. If you notice, sometimes when you chop a tree, on your first hit you get like a mystery box or an acorn or whatever might happen from shaking a tree. So it counts on your first hit as a shake. So you still get the shake out of each of the trees, which is nice. What's the average number of days it takes for a tree to grow? That is a good question. I think it's on the wiki, and I want to say 14. I want to say 14 is the average days it takes for a tree to grow. That's the number that's in my brain. Patronum Twalk in chat says 24. I don't know if you're just making a guess or if you actually know. But the average is a long time, which is why tree fertilizer is so good. Gem is helping here. I appreciate you, Gem. Are you in the way? No, you just walked out of the way so I can plant a seed. What a good kitty. My question now to myself is, now that I'm going back to chopping trees after that brief stint, that brief bit of psychosis where I was like, I'm going to shake the trees instead, even though I knew in my heart of hearts that I would never be able to stick to it. Now I'm like, well, now do I go back and pick up all the paths except for the ones that I had down in the first place? Do I just go back to the way things were, the way things used to be, or do I leave the paths now that they're here? And hand over my heart, I don't know what I want to do with that. I think leaving the paths is probably smart, but I do think I should still change at least the main like critical path back to the house, like between the quarry and the house, to a cobblestone path. That way I can follow it a little more mindlessly. The 0.024% chance for bait and bobber only applies when the tree has a seed. Well, does that mean it only applies when the tree like produces a seed? Or I thought it was like, because I saw on the wiki it says like that it has that chance when for trees that produce seeds. And I took that to mean that you can't get it from like a palm tree or something like those kind of trees in the game that never produce seeds. That's how I read that. Paths block artifact spots, and those can have books. You know what, Mary Pro? You make an excellent point. You make an absolutely wonderful observation. Yeah, no, I do think I should probably get rid of the paths in that case. I didn't even think about that. We still have plenty of spaces where artifact spots can spawn, but we want as many as possible, because if I learned this as well from a comment, I don't remember who left this comment, but I think you actually made yourself known in chat yesterday. Maybe you're here now too. If you get a skill book of any kind from an artifact spot on a day, then you can reset that day and you can hit that artifact spot again to change what skill book you get. So if we hit an artifact spot and get like the skill book for foraging, which we obviously don't need, then we can re-roll until we do get bait and bobber or combat quarterly or whatever we might need at the time. It's bat time. Man, they didn't wait long at all. Like 7 p.m. and there's already, or 8 p.m. and there's already 2 bats on me. They only start spawning at 7 p.m. More chicken statues in the future. That is another consideration. We've got to make sure we build up that chicken statue collection as high as possible. Are my slimes... I feel like the slimes haven't been, like, doing anything. I feel like there's, like, as many slimes as there were when I started the stream today. Maybe I just gotta get close to them and jostle them around a little bit, get them moving. Get the blood pumping, you know? Let me see your levels. There you go. That's where we're at right now. We have at least one level in every skill, thanks to the one bait and bobber I got last stream. It's gonna take a while before we reach level 10 in any of them, other than foraging. I think the second easiest skill next to foraging is probably farming, I guess. But even then, like, you have to rely just on mixed seeds for the longest time until you can get a seed maker at level 9. It's pretty slow going in and of itself, for sure. Flint and Steel. I still haven't seen the Minecraft movie, for the record. I don't know that I ever will. There probably will come a day where it's like, I have nothing better to do than the opportunity to watch the Minecraft movie presents itself to me. But it's not something I'm like gonna probably go out of my way to watch anytime soon. You refuse to see it? I don't refuse to see it. I mean, I like Minecraft. I haven't played it in a long time. And I respect wanting to, like, make a, you know, fun for the whole family kind of movie like that. I've just heard it's a little bit brain rot. Which is alright. Sometimes brain rot is exactly what the brain ordered. Junk food for the brain is valuable in its own right sometimes. Have a good one there, Faye. Thanks for hanging out. And have a good one as well, Woolen Feet. Gotta go for the doctors. Fair enough. You take care. All the best to you. Did I hear about the live-action My Little Pony movie? What did you just say to me? What the heck? Those can't be real words that you're putting in my face right now. Live-action My Little Pony doesn't make any sense. Like, they're gonna use real horses? Or is it live action in, like, the Lion King live action sense, where they use, like, CGI for the whole thing and make them look like real horses? I can't decide which would be worse. I don't think I like that, though. It better have actual real horses. That would be kind of amazing if it was actually real horses, and, like, maybe they just, like, do CGI on their mouths to make them talk or something, although that would look a little uncanny probably. So maybe just, like, don't have their mouths move and just have them talk to each other, like, telepathically or something, and we'll just pretend as the audience. I think that could work. Live action Equestria girls would make a lot more sense, because then they're already, like, anthropomorphized, so you can just, like, hire actors instead of doing whatever they're planning on doing. I didn't hear about that at all. No, I haven't been in the My Little Pony sphere of news in quite a while. I haven't been keeping up. Ever since the end of Friendship is Magic, I tried to give Generation 5, like, a chance, and I had a fun enough time watching, like, the initial movie that came out, but I don't know, I was just past the point where I was willing to invest time into learning about, like, a new-ish world and all the new characters and stuff. I was like, you know what? I think I've had my fill. I've got my home base in Friendship is Magic with Equestria, Twilight, and the gang, you know? That's fine by me. I hope the new generation serves other people just as well as Generation 4 served me. Come on. There we go. Finish off the bat. There is a bomb that dropped right there. I'll come back for it in the morning. Don't want to lose any of my money. What would I do? Look at all this money I have to lose. You think Morning Moon is making stuff up for fun? Hasbro and Amazon MGM basically confirmed it. Yeah, I'd have to look that up for sure. I'll take it with a grain of salt for right now, but that sounds That sounds upsetting. I don't think a My Little Pony live action film would work that well. I liked the My Little Pony like Friendship is Magic movie. Just like the actual movie and like it was a different animation style to the show, but it was still animation. So it worked just fine. Miss Palindrome, welcome on in. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Racing horse girls and all that stuff. I'm just out here chopping trees. I gotta get rid of these pathways, man. They're driving me crazy to look at. I think, should I get rid of... No, I should chop all the trees first, and then once I get back down to the reasonable amount of trees that I normally have per day, then we can start worrying about like when I can actually chop enough trees and it not be like the end of the day and we still have more trees to go. Then we can start worrying about getting the pathways out of here. Wanted to be here at the beginning of the stream, but your narcolepsy said no. Fair enough. It's hard to argue with that sometimes. Don't know why our bodies tend to fight against us like that. Make life harder for us, but life is complicated, right? Why am I stealing Robin's job? Well, if she wants to come and visit me and offer her services, I would gladly take her up on them, man, but no one wants to come visit poor old Esme on her farm. I've just gotta mind my own business until eventually I'm able to show up, and then they'll pretend like they've known me the whole time. They'll start talking to me like I've always been there, man, because they're so dang friendly. Didn't mean to get rid of that path, but honestly, just as well. What in-game year? I have to specify in-game year because in real years, it could also take multiple years. But what in-game year do you think will finally be allowed to leave the farm? It's currently year 5 for perspective here. 30, 45, 23, 10. Honestly, if I was able to leave sooner than year, like, 50, I would count that as a win. I would count that as being, like, pretty lucky. With all the stuff I have to do and how long it's going to take, or, like, how long it's likely to take, I suppose, I feel like year 50 would be optimistic. Part of me is like, it might take more than like 100 years. Margin of error on guesses is 100%. Sounds about right. Someone's bound to get it eventually. Just eat all my mushrooms, get me filled back up here. At the very least, we don't have to worry about energy in any capacity here. We got mushrooms for literal years. 100 years? I don't know. Maybe I'm overestimating it. Maybe I'm just trying to say something that sounds bombastic. But when I think about, you know, having to level up all of our skills to level 10, including, like, killing monsters and getting, like, 1, or once we get to higher levels, maybe, like, 2 or 3 experience at a time. Trying to get all the bait and bobber books from these trees. Trying to get the living hat eventually. Like, letting fibers spread and trying to get that 1 in 100,000 chance for that to drop. Like, I feel like there's so many long grinds ahead of me that it makes me feel like, how could it take any less than 100 years? Just check the code. The tree has to have a seed for the 0.024% chance to roll on the book. So you actually get a 0.0012% chance each day you shake a tree. Okay, so chopping trees is actually... Okay, so I misunderstood. I thought that with every tree you shake, there was, yeah, 0.024% chance to get it. Oh, that makes... So that actually makes chopping trees, like, significantly better. If I'm reading that right, because... Like, you saw when we were shaking trees, like, with the amount of trees we shook, I would shake, like, 50 trees or something. And I feel like I would only get, like, a couple tree seeds, and you're telling me that only on those chances when you get the tree seed would you actually have a chance to get the book as well. That's crazy. Yo, Chuck OJ, thank you for looking into the code on that one. I appreciate you. It's great to have code divers in the chat here to verify these things in real time. So I'm vindicated in my chopping of the trees, is what you're telling me. That's fantastic news. A tree only has a 5% chance to generate a tree every day, or to generate a seed every day, so it's not very likely. So yeah, it's a 5% chance to get a seed, and that seed is a prerequisite to get the bait and bobber book, I understand. Yeah, that is, like, way worse. That is significantly worse than I thought it was. Originally, it sounded like shaking trees was the meta unequivocally. Now, because, like, chopping trees, we get 10 chops per tree with our basic axe, and each of those chops has a 0.004% chance to hit, or to drop the book. So it's not technically you can't technically just multiply that probability by 10 and get the right number. That's not how probabilities work, but the probability in this case is, like, low enough that multiplying by 10 gets you basically close enough. So you have basically a 0.04% chance per tree, or a 1 in 2,500 chance per tree, like I said on the first stream that I did this, in order to get the book. Versus a lot less than that when you're just shaking the trees. That is confusing for sure. that is easy to get confused by, but I think I understand where we're at now. Maybe only shake trees in winter at the end of the week. Yeah, I mean, shaking trees in winter still makes sense to me, because at least that gives you something to do in winter versus the nothing I was doing before, because I would always just chop the trees and not have any trees. Oh, that is not a book we need. it's a book, but it's not the book we need, unfortunately. Also not one of the rare books. This is Woody's Secret here, which is a book that's very common. Well, at least compared to the skill books, it's very common. So that wasn't like a chance to roll bait and bobber when we missed. That's another one of these that I already have 10 of. Would be worth saving for gifts. I'm just saving them to... maybe I'll use them for gifts at some point in the future. But right now I'm just saving them to see how many I can have by the end of it, because I don't need to read them for forging experience anymore. Boop. Might as well get this last standing, or these last few couple trees over here. Oh. Anytime I'm looking over at chat and I hear that, like, item into my inventory sound, little pop, my heart skips a beat for just a second, because there's always that chance that I'm going to look back and see bait and bobber in my inventory. Usually it's just like an acorn, though. Am I getting mastery before leaving the farm? I mean, you technically can't, because you have to go... you have to go to the mastery cave, obviously, to do that. And that's in Cindersap Forest. But I will get the prerequisites for mastery, yes. Oh, I will get, or unless... Wait, actually... Does the mastery bar... Does that show up once you get level 10 in every skill, regardless of whether you visited the mastery cave? I didn't think about that. Like, do you start getting experience for mastery regardless of whether or not you can get to the... Or you've been to the mastery cave? No? Okay. Well, that's good for me, then. Because that means I don't have to worry about, like, getting all that mastery experience without leaving the farm. only up to the first level. I mean, that still wouldn't be that bad, even if that was the case, because I could just chop more trees. It does show. Curious. Imagine the beloved farmer died, and then years later his grandkid shows up and never leaves their farm. I gotta make sure it's in tip-top shape for Grandpa. I'm doing it all for you, Grandpa. I'll be the best farmer there ever was. But before that, I have to make sure that I've done everything else possible. I am still a farmer. Like, if you hover over me here, I'm a tiller. I'm a tiller. I haven't done nothing here. I've done some tilling. Grandpa left it in a right state. I mean, I don't know how long Grandpa was away from the valley, to be fair, so it just kind of left... Probably just had time to get overgrown like it was. Tiller is a baby. I mean, it's better than the no level up challenge where I just didn't have... Where I was always a bumpkin or whatever it was. Or a newbie, a greenhorn. I forget what it was, what even the title was. Yeah, my slimes are starting to multiply a bit more now. Come on, make babies. Make babies. There we go. Actually, I don't know if they made a baby or not. I couldn't tell. They might have just given up. Will there be a YouTube video with the challenge? That is the plan, eventually, yeah. Stop watching them? I think they don't... I mean, they do produce, like, baby slimes, even if you're not watching them. But part of me, like, doesn't feel like they produce them as fast. Even though I know that's not really true. Also, I didn't get this going here. Boop. I don't know, I just feel better if I can, like, see them actually, like multiplying. If I can see the slimes actually, like, working. A bumpkin? Is that even in this game? I think so. I think one of the titles you can get for your farmer is, like, a bumpkin. The word bumpkin is somewhere in Stardew Valley. I know that for a fact. I just don't remember exactly where. But I know it's there because I've seen it and it tickles my brain. Working? Yeah, what else would you call it? Every single chop is 3 times more likely to give you a book than a shake. So big chop propaganda shall still be applied. Thank you very much, Charoji. r/ they did the math, but for real this time. They actually did, like, better math than I did and looked into the code and everything and understood it on a level that I did not yet. Yeah, much love in chat for Charoji. That makes me feel so much better. Because now I can do my chopping, which is, like, the way I prefer to do this. I can do it guilt-free. Before I was doing it, like, thinking that I was doing it being inefficient. Now I can actually do it knowing it's the right thing to do. Fantastic news. Oh, I almost freaking exhausted myself. I wasn't even paying attention. Looks like you'll need an upgraded pickaxe to destroy this dense stone. Yeah, I guess I will, huh? If only I could find one of those somewhere. Alright. Well, now we've solved the chop versus shake conundrum, and I'm sure no one will ever have any questions about that ever again in the future. Because now we're all on the same page, and no one's ever going to come in and be like, why is he not shaking the trees instead? Also, chopping stumps doesn't count. I did know that. That makes sense, because, like, where is the book going to fall out of if you're just chopping the stump? But I have to chop the stumps to get them out of there, obviously, anyway, because I need space to plant the new tree. No way around that. It's just a necessary evil. Do I know if Argon has discussed why we're doing a mayo shed instead of another Fencionaise for the ostriches on Fleeting Farm? I did consider doing another Fencionaise, making a fence out of mayonnaise machines for the ostriches on Fleeting Farm. I did look into that. because it would have matched like the style that we do for the other animals, but you just can't fit as many mayonnaise machines as I would have liked. You can fit like 137 mayonnaise machines in a big shed. And regardless of how big and long and convoluted I made the fencionaise, well, I won't say regardless, because I could have like snaked it back on itself, I guess. It just wouldn't have been as efficient or as useful. Because, I mean, already the mayonnaise is not going to be like a huge contributing factor for our gold clock funds. But I wanted to do a little bit of it, especially because I took all the time to do the ostriches and everything, and the best way to get money out of those ostriches, beyond just selling them outright, is to turn their eggs into mayonnaise, obviously. So I wanted to use them, I wanted to diversify. And the best way to do that, to get the maximum bang for your buck, is to just bite the bullet and do another big shed. Why not both? Because I'm already going to probably come up short with the amount of mayonnaise machines I had to make to fill a shed. You really want me to be like... One of our goals this season is to make 400 mayonnaise machines or something like that? Well, it wouldn't be 400. It would be like maybe like 200, but... We've already got too many mayonnaise machines to make, man. A slime did escape. Yeah, that's just the cost of doing business, unfortunately. Oh, we got a tree up there. I don't know if this for a fact, but it feels like slimes are more likely to escape as you get more slimes. Like, slimes will still escape every so often here, but once you start getting like a lot of slimes, then it becomes a bigger problem. Once we get to the point where it's like, you know, multiple slimes escaping in the night, then that's usually like a good sign to call them. But for right now, I think we're all right. SMA Season 2 goal. I can't remember if crafting a mayonnaise machine is one of the goals I have to do before I leave the farm here. I'm trying to think. I don't know if that's on the checklist. Is there a way to get earth crystals? Like, I think there might be like one of the monsters could drop earth crystals on the farm. That would be the only limiting factor, because obviously we'll get the level to get mayonnaise machines. In fact, I think I already have that level. Not that we need a mayonnaise machine, but if I can craft it, then I'll have to craft it. I'm just trying to think. Like, I want to say, like, maybe... what monster would have a chance to drop an earth crystal? Like, one of the golems, maybe? Like, the wilderness golem? I think regular golems might have a chance to drop earth crystals. Maybe I'm making that up, though. I know Duggies have a chance to drop them, but obviously Duggies don't appear on the farm. Maybe the quarry geodes. Unfortunately, we can't open the quarry geodes. We can't reach Clint, and we don't have access to a geode crusher. So we just have to let the geodes build up until such a time we can access one of the two. And yeah, there's no way to get a geode crusher, because the quest that unlocks the recipe is one that you get from the special orders board in town. The slimes went extinct on your farm. That's something I'm trying to be very wary of, is not to like kill too many slimes that I have to like go through the hassle of getting the wild slimes to breed again so I can start saving the slimes. Now that I've got the slime farm up and running, I want to make sure to leave like a good stockpile of slimes to continue breeding while I wait, or while I have them. Looks like they're trying to... Maybe I should call the slimes, actually, because it looks like they're trying to breed. Like, those hearts are there, but I feel like they might not have enough space because they're crowded out by the other slimes. I think that's something that can happen. So maybe... I'm gonna finish, like, chopping all the trees. We'll finish this tree culling portion, then we'll cull the slimes, and then we'll take care of the pathways so we can get artifact spots going again. I'm fine leaving all that wood down there. It's whatever. go that way. Do I ever plan on making a recap video for the randomizer run? Oop, hold on, I gotta eat mushrooms here. I have thought about it to make a recap video for the randomizer run. That wasn't originally part of the plan, or like the idea of the randomizer. I never planned on making it into a video, but I have had like this idea for like a format to turn it into a video in the back of my head for a while. It's one of those things that's like those projects that, you know, sit in the back of my mind for a long time. I ruminate on them, and then eventually inspiration strikes and I just like knock it all out in one big fell swoop. That's kind of like how my creative process works. I have lots of different ideas, and I just have to be in like the right mood to execute on those ideas. And then once I'm in that mood, there's no freaking stopping me. I'm not collecting mushrooms from logs anymore. I mean, I will, but my inventory is a little scuffed right now, so. This challenge sounds a bit cursed. Count me in. Welcome on. You're welcome. I'm glad to have you along for the ride there, Blossom. I would say cursed does not even begin to capture the sheer insanity of this challenge. I don't know, man. This is one of those challenges that I've had in my mind in the past for like a long time, and I just never... I never bit the bullet, and like I'm gonna start at the bottom here because it's easier to see if you start along the bottom and work your way up. It's one of those challenges that like always just seemed like a little too crazy to actually try and do. That's a lot of butterflies, dude. But the more I thought about it, the more I was like, I can't possibly resist it, man. Because I was like, if no one's gonna do it if I don't do it, because I mean, I won't say no one. There are people out there just as crazy as I am, if not crazier, when it comes to like Stardew challenges and challenge runs in games, for sure. I'm cut from the same cloth as them. I wouldn't even count myself as like amongst the craziest of the challenge runners out there, though. But we're few and far between, so I'm like, you know what, if I've got this idea, I might as well do it. It's not like it's going to take, like, you know, longer than my own human lifetime, right? So... as long as I can get the challenge done within, like, you know, 10 real-life years, it's still maybe worth considering on my radar. Once you start going beyond that point, then it starts to be like, well, maybe that's a little much, but... and as long as it's not, like, the only thing that I'm doing. Like, I can do other things while I work on this, right? Within how many years? 10? I mean, what else am I doing with my time, right? Bro, this is my job. I make Stardew content and, like, gaming content. Like, this is how I support myself. So, this is, like, the most productive use of my time right now. Which is hilarious to think about. Thank you for your service. My pleasure. I mean, I wouldn't do it if I didn't also find it fun, for the record. It's not like I'm doing it, like, and, like, grousing and griping my way through it, like, oh, I know that I don't really want to be doing this right now, but obviously I'm the challenge guy, and I gotta do the craziest challenges, so let's do this crazy challenge. No, no, no. If I didn't want to do this challenge, I wouldn't do the challenge. I'm here chopping these trees, painstakingly trying to, like, going multiple times over the amount of experience you need to reach level 10 foraging in the pursuit of, like, a single book for fishing, because I find that chase very thrilling. I find the dopamine rush from, like, doing something mind-numbing and tedious and monotonous like this for extremely long periods of time in the pursuit of a seemingly unreachable goal. That's where challenge runs thrive in my mind. And if people are willing to watch me, quote unquote, suffer through it, I use the word suffer because, you know, that's the word that people use when it comes to challenge runs like this. But ultimately, it's not suffering at all. At least not for me. If I was shaking the trees, I might be suffering a little more because then I wouldn't get this tactile feeling. And that's why I only shook the trees for a little while. And then I just, like, gave up on that. Dropping in for Meteors. It's a great song. I should have put it on the stream playlist sooner than I did, for sure. Little meteoroids. You've been watching Stardew content for a while, and your challenges are the most creative. Thank you for saying that. I try to, like, mix it up. I know I'm far from the first person to do, like, a hermit-style challenge like this where you don't leave the farm. I'm probably not even the first person to, like, do this sort of idea where, like, you try and do... At least try and, like... Well, I know I'm not the first person to, like, try and reach level 10 in all skills on the farm. I don't know if I've ever seen any videos of people actually doing it, but anecdotally, I've seen, like, comments from people in my own chats and on the VODs and stuff here. Like, there are people who say that they're doing this same grind, so I have to believe that I'm not alone in this. There is some solidarity in that, but... I try to branch out and be creative. Because a lot of challenges and a lot of stuff like that, stuff like this in these games, does tend to feel a little samey. Like the 100 days trend for Stardew and other games like Stardew. I understand why it's popular, and I'd like to see, like, other people put their own spins and stuff on it. That's always fun to me. But it does... I mean, once you see, like, your 100th 100 days video recommended to you, you start to be like, can we try something else here? And 100 days isn't a whole year. That's the thing, too. People will still put 100 days in the title because that's, like, the clickbaity thing to do. It's, like, the thing that people, like, you look at that and you're like, 100 days? That sounds impressive. I gotta watch this. But in Stardew Valley, 100 days ends on, like the 100th day of Stardew Valley is, like, winter 14th or something, or winter 16th. It's, like, some random day in the middle of winter. So I think most people, when they do 100 days in Stardew Valley, they just go for a full year anyway, because, like, why wouldn't you? Like how Sapphire's doing round two of the prismatic year in Stardew Valley. I mean, you gotta mix it up like that for sure, yeah. These days, it just doesn't cut it to do, like, just 100 days in a game. Like, if you see someone title their video, like, I played 100 days of Stardew Valley. At this point, there was a time where that would be, like, kind of like an interesting video to watch just on its own merits. You'd be like, okay, I'll watch that. And maybe, like, from the right person at the right time, with the right, like, editing style, that can still work. But these days, you might look at a video like that and be like, okay, and? You played 100 days of Stardew Valley, but what's the twist? Where's the twist? I need my twist. Without the twist, what am I here for? We're just playing Stardew Valley. I can do that anytime I want. That said, even when people are doing... Oh, I have, like, a full stack of wood. That's why my inventory's full here. Teehee. I'll go drop some stuff off. I mean, I'll drop stuff off, and then I'll probably just go monster hunting for the rest of the night here. I've got to go around here, though. If you are doing just, like, the bare bones 100 days, though, without any other, like, restrictions around it, you can still, like, make it your own, like, personalize it to your own style, though, by, like, setting different goals, right? Like, they don't have to be, like, specific restrictions you have to work around, but if you just have, like, certain goals to complete within the 100 days, then, like, that's fine, too. I played 100 days of Stardew Valley, but as Pam. That's my Shawnee Do impression. Do you like it? It's just my voice, but, like, slightly more nasally. And, like, a little higher, maybe. I'm not great at impersonations, is what I'm trying to say. Would I try another randomizer? I wouldn't be opposed. I definitely, like, the randomizer took a very long time. But I'd be willing to do another randomizer at some point in the future. Maybe like a modded randomizer if we can ever get that going. That would be cool. Stardew expanded randomizer. That could be a fun time. Give me like a wilderness golem here. That would be hype. Wilderness golem into living hat. It'd be pretty huge. Yeah, these slimes definitely need to be culled at some point here. That's why Blade's videos are so interesting. They take forever, but it's about being able to do something in a single in-game day. Yeah. No, Blade is kind of... I think Blade, if you find my challenges creative and interesting and, like, stretching the limits of what the game can be and what you can do in the game, then, like, Blade is next level in that regard. He does things that, like, only Blade would ever think to do. He does so many, like, interesting things in the game. It's wonderful. Like you say, they do take a long time, but oftentimes the best things, the best projects like that do take a long time. Finish vanilla expanded first. Yeah, no, that probably should be the order I do things in. Before I go into an expanded randomizer, just understand, at least from like a one full playthrough, do like one full playthrough of expanded. Which I'm on my way, slowly but surely. Mixing the expanded streams here and there. We'll get there eventually. Starting to run low-ish on maple seeds, but that's okay. We'll get more maple seeds as the maple trees grow in. And one day we'll just have a full farm of maple trees, but then I'll want to diversify, so I'll start pivoting to, like, acorns. Well, I'll probably pivot to acorns first. Like, I mean, once I run out of maple seeds here, I'll start planting acorns, I think. And then go back to pine trees if I run out of those acorns as well. I wonder why pine trees are, like, the most common one, because I feel like every playthrough I do, I always end up with, like, way more pine cones than anything else. Wonder what the rationale is behind that. Have a good one there, Mrudala. Take care. Current challenges that say, can I beat Stardew Valley? And beating Stardew Valley is just finishing the community center. To me, beating a game isn't until the credits roll, if there are any. That's valid. That's why, like, when I did the community center, like, no level of community center video, my first Stardew challenge, I was like, well, does Stardew, like, actually back then, was perfection even a thing? I don't even think it was. But even then, I was like, you don't really beat Stardew Valley. At least you couldn't, at least in my estimation, like, I'm the same way. I would be like, beating Stardew Valley would be like reaching perfection in the game. Yeah, back in the day, I could see saying that, like, beating the game would just be the community center, because that was, like, kind of just the end game. After you complete the community center, there usually wasn't a whole lot to do after that, back in, like, the earliest updates. But once Ginger Island was added in 1.5, then yeah, it became a whole different beast. No movie theater, no Ginger Island, that was it. Well, I think there was stuff to do after beating the community center prior to, like, Ginger Island and stuff, right? That was when you unlocked, like, the golden clock and the obelisks and stuff, like the wizard buildings. It wasn't much, but there was still, like, some stuff to do. And especially with, like, the gold clock, like, you have to earn, like, 10 million gold. That could take up a good amount of time. Those didn't exist either. They existed. Those weren't 1.5 editions. The obelisks and gold clock were not added in 1.5. That's not what you're telling me. They weren't added in the same update as Ginger Island. I know that for a fact. At least I think I know it for a fact. Am I getting my updates wrong? But yeah, no, early Stardew Valley, like you're talking like 1.2 and 1.1 and stuff. I think the obelisks were added in like 1.3 maybe even 1.2. I'm not sure. I think they were added like relatively. I want to say 1.3. They were 1.1. Holy. So even back then, Concerned Ape realized, like, oh, once the community center is done, people want more stuff to do. He didn't realize that people would be like so invested in the game they'd want to keep going after that. So then he added more content back in. That's wild, man. It's always fun looking back at like how once a game's been around for like as long as Stardew Valley has, and looking back at like how it's evolved over time. It's always so cool. Getting the full museum collection pre 1.4 was also fun before artifact troves. Dude, I remember when artifact troves like were introduced, and I was like, it was just mind-boggling. You're telling me you don't have to just hope and pray that the artifact spot that there's an artifact spot in the right map location that gives you exactly what you want? I don't even remember if I ever completed the museum collection prior to like artifact troves being introduced. I feel like I probably did. That's like, I mean, it's such a grind, right? To like actually just like go and find the artifacts like au naturel like that. But yeah, anyone who did do it, mad props to you. That's the reason that even to this day, like some artifacts have that kind of lingering legacy attached to them. Where it's like these artifacts, they're not so hard to obtain anymore because of artifact troves, but if you played back in the day, back in my day, you couldn't just open an artifact trove for your chipped amphora. You had to go to town, you had to scour the streets and see if there was an artifact spot lying on the ground somewhere, pull out your hoe, dig it up, and pray for the best. Dinosaur egg. I mean, the dinosaur egg is like so much more common these days. It's almost too common. Based from like prehistoric floors and artifact troves and stuff. I feel like, honestly, I don't think it's that bad. It's necessarily bad that it's that common, but it does feel like it's, you know, it loses a little bit of that mysticism. Bro, I just got a house plant. Let's go. It's at least something interesting out of the tree here. House plant. That's actually kind of a cool looking house plant too. I like the like red pot. I'm gonna go put that at home. I don't know if I have room in my house. Well, I definitely have room in my house, but how long before I don't have room in my house to put house plants down? And chat, let this houseplant serve as a reminder of the fact that this challenge, I could have made this challenge much worse than I did. I managed to restrain myself, but there was a part of me when I was like designing the goals for this challenge that was like, how hard would it really be to get all furniture and clothing possible from chopping trees? And then I started looking into it and I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. Everyone has their limits, and I found mine once I started looking into that. I was like, that's okay. There's no achievements or anything tied to that. That's fine. We're gonna be here long enough as it is. But if I complete this challenge as I've laid it out in, like, you know, a reasonable amount of time, maybe there will be something to be said about getting all the clothing and furniture. I don't know. Probably not. More likely, I think it's just going to be, like, interesting to see how much of the furniture and clothing we get by the time that we're done with everything here. Because we're just going to get them, like, passively as we're doing this, right? As we already have been. So I'll probably have, like, a good few chests full of, like, random shirts and stuff. That said, I haven't actually gotten any new shirts at all today. That houseplant was, like, the first thing of real note that we've gotten in a while here. On a bit of a dry streak. And mystery boxes don't count. Can you throw the living hat out because you think you got it once and you threw it away? I believe you can, yeah. It's not like a special item that prevents you from throwing it out. I think it's just like counted as a hat in the game, and you can trash hats for sure. Can't wait to see Cindersap Forest when we get there, all the debris. There's debris that spreads in Cindersap and in Pelican Town, actually, depending on how long we're out of there, so... Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see those ones once we finally get there, depending on how long it takes. Today you learned you got all star drops on Stardew version 1.07. Holy. Now that is a back in my day situation if I've ever heard it. If you trash it, you can likely get it back from the secret shop. I don't think you would be able to for the living hat. The secret shop, the one you're referring to, is the crow shop in the secret woods that was added in 1.6. I believe that is only a shop for items that you literally have no way to get back once you get rid of them, if you happen to get rid of them. The living hat, while laborious and rare, you can technically get an unlimited amount of living hats. Whereas something like the Stardew Hero Trophy, that you get for like completing the community center, you get that one time and you can never get it again. Or at least you couldn't get it again until that shop was introduced. You chucked out a golden coconut hat and the crow did have it? Oh. Maybe it's, okay, maybe there's like a certain... Maybe it's just like a certain pool of items then, I don't know. I was always under the impression that it was like items you literally couldn't get back in order to prevent yourself, like, from getting rid of those items at any point. At least you'd have, like, some way to get them back, even if you did have to shell out 10 grand for them. But yeah, golden coconut hat, that you can get plenty of those. They're a little annoying to get. That's interesting. I haven't really interfaced with that shop at any point. I haven't had a reason to. I just know that it exists. There goes our final maple seed for now. Please nobody try this with their living hat. I mean, you could test that with a living hat, because you could, like, trash your living hat, go check the shop. Unless it takes, like, a day for the shop to, like, get stocked with that. But if it's, like, an instant thing, you could just check the shop right away. And then, like, if it's there, you'd be like, great, now I know, and then you can reset. Or, like, if the day, or you, I mean, you can either buy it back, or if it's not there, then you can just reset and get the living hat back. Or you can do a backup save. That works too, yeah. Which would probably be a smart thing to do anyway, just in case. The shop is overnight. I did not know. Still so many things to learn in this game. Isn't that wild that even in games like Stardew Valley, where we like can look at the code of the game, and we've played it for like, it's been out for almost 10 years now, and millions of people have played it. There's still stuff yet to be discovered in the game. How's that real, man? That's so wild to me. You would think that, like, once, like, the code is, like, open and bare and laid out there, that, like, there wouldn't be any, like, new discoveries to be had. Yo, double wilderness golems. And obviously the discoveries that you can have now are not as, like, they're not always, like, the super most bombastic discoveries. It's more, like, about, like, optimizing and stuff, but the fact that, like, even after all this time, and this goes for, like, a lot of games, not just Stardew. The fact that there is, like, so much to discover in some of these games is just mind-boggling. I don't think I see a living hat anywhere in there, unfortunately. I see some fiber, but I'll go and make room for it in a second here. The golden helmet is a hat that can be obtained from opening gold coconuts. This hat can only be obtained once per save file or once per player in multiplayer. I swore you could get multiple copies of that hat. Is that real? Huh. I swore I've gotten multiple copies of that hat myself. Ooh. Didn't mean to pop in here just yet. Just wanted to put that away. Oh, my bad. Put this away. Where's my fiber go? Yeah, in there. Tried to do a living hat run, you gave up. Makes me think of the hat urchin percent, one of those like meme speedruns for Stardew Valley where you try and put a hat on an urchin as fast as possible. And the meta like world record strategy for that category is to like step outside and like break fiber for a little bit to try and get a living hat, because it's like the fastest hat you can get in the game if you just happen to get lucky. I think that's what is that what the world record does? I actually don't know. I know that's like the technical on paper fastest strategy, and I think people have grinded it out, and at least one person I've seen in a video like has done it that way. But I don't know if they got the living hat fast enough to offset the luck. I shouldn't be gathering the mushrooms here because I'm gonna desync my mushroom logs. I just wanted something to do. I'll hold on to these because I can just dehydrate them in the morning. Hold on. Question. What about legendary fish? Do we have to catch them in triplets with challenge bait, since you technically need the ship to ship the fish itself, the smoked version, and the roe? Well, you don't need to ship the fish for the fishing collection. Nuke Dukem. For the fishing collection, you just need to catch the fish. And then for shipping, you just need to ship any smoked fish. You should only need one iteration of each fish, because you can take the fish that you catch. It doesn't count for shipping, so you don't need to ship it, and you can just pop it into a fish pond. Yeah, just resetting day one over and over again for the living hat. That's what I was talking about for that speed run. Just like if you don't get it fast enough, then you like literally just reset the run. You need a sturgeon for caviar. Eventually, yeah. Once we get to like the mountain lake and stuff, then we can start talking about those kind of fish and the restrictions therein. But let's not get ahead of ourselves here. I'm still level 1 fishing, and we're talking about legendary fish and sturgeons and caviar. Chill, man. I still need to find 5 copies of Bait and Bobber. Not clickbait, man. Not clickbait. I wish I could clickbait. That would make things so much easier. Because if I could clickbait, then I would have access to bait, which would mean I'd be making crab pots right now, man. Does the traveling cart sell caviar? She does, actually, yeah. That's what scares me. Like we talked on the previous stream about like which map I would want to unlock next once I do complete the farm. Since we're trying to complete the game 1 map at a time. And I don't think it can be Cindersap Forest, man. I just don't. There's mastery there, which isn't even the bulk of my concern. The bulk of my concern would be the traveling cart. Because the traveling cart gives you access to so many items for like shipping purposes that like it would just devolve into checking the traveling cart every day or every chance we get for years and years and years until I get everything. Doing the cactus fruit, but for hundreds of items. Yeah, kind of. that would be a brutal grind, and like I'll do it if it ultimately comes to that. If we like look at it and decide like that's the best way to go, then I'll do it. I'll do what has to be done. Because like Pelican Town also comes with its fair share of grinds if I go that direction. Including even like actual trash grinds, right? Like, literally, I would have to do the cactus fruit grind again for multiple items. I'd have to get the cactus fruit itself from trash, because I would be able to complete those bundles to unlock the... Because you can't get cactus fruit from a trash can until you unlock the desert, but you don't have to visit the desert in order to get the cactus fruit. So I'd still have to get that. Aren't the next maps the Backwoods, Cindersap, and the bus station? That is correct, yeah. Those will be the next maps we could access. Technically, you can also access the mountains or the beach via warp totems, but that is not reliable in the slightest, since the only way to really get warp totems at this point would be to... Well, I guess you can craft them eventually. Actually, I mean, wait, they're foraging, right? So I have the crafting recipes for them. Farm warp totems are irrelevant for that. Mountain warp totems, I guess you can make. Beach warp totems, you don't have access to coral, but you can get them from artifact spots. And once you have access to the beach, you can theoretically get coral. Wouldn't be able to get like a coral fish pond without going to the mountains first, but it just wouldn't really be realistic to do that. You literally aren't allowed to go to the backwoods since you can't get Linus's basket without accessing the bus stop. I think I'd still be allowed to go to the backwoods, because even though technically, yes, the basket is on that map, if it's literally inaccessible, then I feel like that shouldn't count as a requirement. If it requires another map to access it in the first place, then I feel like, you know, just backlog that requirement until we have access to the bus stop, or just go to the bus stop first, I guess. Is probably the easier way to do that. Either way, yeah, it's about what's possible, exactly. Not about, like, literally, like, if something's on the map but it's not possible to do, then, like, oh, well. Then it's like, you know, the challenge over, you can't do it anymore, sorry. So you get to pick where you go? You thought it had to be connected, like, choose a border? No, you can... I mean, it has to be... You have to have a way to travel between the two destinations, is my personal take on it. Which usually is going to be a border, because then you can just, like, walk between those areas infinitely, right? But if you have a warp totem, I don't see a reason that you wouldn't be able to use that to open up a new area. It's just not realistic or ideal. Like I could theoretically unlock the mountains and use mountain warp totems to warp back and forth between those, but like I don't feel like I would when I could just go to the backwoods instead and unlock the mountains from there. Is it possible to get the Statue of Perfection before I leave? I don't think so. I'd have to look into, like, the candle system, but I don't think it's possible to get 4 candles without leaving the farm to get the Statue of Perfection. I could be wrong, but... I mean, maybe, like, with I don't know how much total earnings factors into things when it comes to... the candles on Grandpa's Shrine. I'm already past the point where I have, like, evaluation... where Grandpa's evaluated me, but I think... Actually, I don't know if I can get a diamond. I'm not entirely sure. I don't think I can get a diamond. Unless a monster drops a diamond. See, that now you got me thinking. I'm thinking, like, wait a second. If it is possible... No, it wouldn't work. Hold on. I was gonna... My brain was doing... Sorry, I didn't say anything. My brain had to, like, work through the process first. But here's what I was thinking. I was like, if it was possible to, like, get the 4 candles without leaving the farm, but you couldn't get a diamond for a reevaluation, then would the requirement be to get... would the requirement be to get enough points to do all the candles before the first evaluation, in which case you'd have to, like, really plan that out and grind it like crazy to do whatever you had to do, which would probably be, like, earn, like, 10 million gold in that time or something. But in the context of this challenge, you really couldn't do that, because the first map is the farmhouse, and to get through the farmhouse, you have to sleep for 2 years. To unlock all the recipes from Queen of Sauce. So literally, like, you don't go outside until year 3, and then you just get evaluated right then and there. So you just wouldn't have any chance to do anything beyond getting those recipes. If there's a way for a diamond to drop, then we can talk. But until then, I don't think there's any. I don't think there's a way for a diamond to drop on the farm. Let me check. Do I have it on my checklist? Let me see here. Exclamation point checklist, by the way. Diamond. Actually, obtain a diamond is on the checklist, so there must be a way to obtain it. Let me see. Diamond. What monsters drop a diamond? Any monster after reaching the bottom of the mines. Wilderness Golem apparently drops a diamond. Okay. Wilderness Golems drop diamonds, but you can't get 4 candle evaluation without marriages or the community center. You can only get 9 points, you need 12. All right, fair enough. Good to know, then. Good to know. That would be nice if we could, because then that would be like a great source of iridium, and thereby money, but... Red slimes also drop diamonds, which we will have access to red slimes eventually once we get a high enough combat level. They drop prizzies after level 10. Yup. that is true. That's why the prismatic shard is on our checklist of things to do. Mystery box, baby. Got another copy of Woody's Secret at some point here as well. I was barely even paying attention. I must have been talking about something else. White slimes drop diamonds. Oh, there you go. Oh, wait, you know... Oh, you just put a horrible thought in my brain. I might have to look into color-coded slime drops, because, like, in theory, I can get all different... I can get green, blue, and red slimes. And I can breed different colors of slimes. I need to look into that to see if, like, I can get different... Like, like, if you get black slimes, which is really hard without a slime hutch, black slimes do drop Bixite and Neptunite. Can I ignore that? I don't know if I can, man. I don't know if I can ignore that. Oh, that would be a painful grind. That would be awful, man. But I kind of love it. I mean, I've done my fair share of slime breeding back in the day. Here's the scary thought, though. Here's the only thing I'm thinking that could make it so that I could, like, justify not having to do that, is that the colors of slimes that appear on your farm, right? They are influenced by your combat level. Once you reach combat level 4, for instance, blue slimes start spawning, and green slimes stop spawning, I'm pretty sure. You can't get green slimes to spawn anymore. So, in theory, like, if someone was doing this challenge and, like, didn't realize that they had to go for those color-coded slime drops, they might, like, get to level 4 combat and start breeding blue slimes and just get rid of all their green slimes. And at that point, they wouldn't be able to breed for the right colors, I don't think. Because you need, like, green, blue, and red slimes in order to breed for all the right colors. So it would theoretically be possible to, like, lock yourself out of doing it. Unless you keep green slimes from when you had green slimes initially. And I don't think there's any other goals on the checklist that, like, have the potential to lock yourself out of doing it. So the question I would have to ask, I guess, is should there be goals on that list for if anyone ever wanted to do this challenge beyond myself, which I don't know that anyone will. But in theory, like, if I'm making this challenge with the thought that, like, someone else might want to do it in the future, should there be things that you could, like, soft lock yourself out of? That's a deep moral philosophical question that I don't know if I'm prepared to answer. Because part of me is like, yeah, that makes sense. You shouldn't have to, like, worry about, like, things that you can, like, literally just lock yourself out of doing if you're not paying attention. Or, oh, wait, yeah, they can also run. Wait, so even if you do save your green slimes, there's a chance, if you get unlucky enough, that your green slimes could all just run away. So actually, like, locking yourself out of it could be, like, could be a lot easier than you might think. Because you could just, like, if you have enough green slimes or enough of each color slime, it would be unlikely that would happen, but I think it still could happen if like, your slimes don't breed the right way, the wrong ones run away. If you, like, for instance, if you have, like, a lot of, like, male green slimes, but not many female green slimes, and then the female ones run away, and you're stuck with, like, green male slimes. I mean, I guess you can breed it with the other colors of slimes, and you can get green slimes back still, but it would be tough, but you could theoretically lock yourself out that way too. Can you do a soft reset if you lock yourself out? If you realize it in time, then yeah. But I'm thinking of someone who, like, wouldn't even know that. But I guess now that I'm talking about, now that we've realized that that's a thing, I think it would be hard to justify leaving those goals off the list now that it's, like, something I know that is there. Thank goodness you can't make a slime press. Wait, what does a slime press require? Hold on, I feel like slime press was on the list of things I can make. Slime press. No, slime incubator is the one I'm thinking of. I think it's fair to include challenges that you need good RNG to achieve, but it's not fair to put in ones that you need good RNG to just not fail. Or just to not fail. I don't know, man. That's a tough one. That is a tough one. Let me look at the actual. Let's have a look here, shall we? Let's do a little wiki deep dive here. Color-based drops. What all is there? There's Neptunite and Bixite. Those are literally the only two, like, color-based drops that you'd have to worry about getting, right? Because everything else here is, like, the resources that you can get otherwise. So you'd have to breed black slimes, which is, like, really hard. Iridium can, since we're on the hilltop farm, we can get iridium nodes from the quarry once we reach a certain mining level. But if you can't donate the minerals, does it really matter? I mean, I have on the checklist, I have the artifacts that I can get from, like, artifact spots and stuff. Like, I have the strange dolls and everything on there. Because in my mind, I'm like, well, eventually I'm going to have to donate those. So I feel like I should have to get them here if I have the ability to get them. So this would be, like, the only real drop here. And getting black slimes without a slime hutch, man, that's really hard. I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritty of why that's so hard, but rest assured, I've done my fair share of research into slime breeding to know that that is obscenely hard to do. Because slimes, when you breed them, the long and short of it is that, like, when you breed slimes, you're more likely to get lighter colored slimes. Like the babies are more likely to be lighter colors than darker colors. You really have to know what you're doing. You typed the message you wanted me to see already? What'd you say, Comp? Since shipping is over on Fleeting Farm, you turned the list into the slimes I need? Oh my gosh. I do need all the different colors of slimes eventually on Fleeting Farm. Ooh, that's exciting. I can't wait to do that, honestly. The slime breeding segment of Fleeting Farm, once we get to the slime disco and stuff for Project Mega Mall, that's gonna go crazy, man. I love slime breeding. Which is why maybe I'm not, like, too resistant to adding, like, slime breeding as a requirement for this challenge, but black slimes that's tough, man. Without a slime hutch, that's tough. All right. Lock in for the night here. When did I get Woodcutters Weekly? A while back. I think it was before I started streaming. I got a copy of Woodcutters Weekly, which I just don't need because I already have level 10 foraging. So I'm just holding on to it for posterity. A slime has escaped during the night. Well, that's alright. We're probably going to cull some slimes today, actually. Because I think we're officially done, like, we've caught up on the tree chopping. I mean, there's always going to be a few new trees to chop every day. That's just the way this works. But I think I'm at the point where I'm caught up from my brief, like, tree shaking spree, where I let the trees grow with wild abandon. So now I can start catching up on other things here. So I'll chop my trees today, then we'll go call some slimes, then I'll start working on getting rid of the pathways. I think I'll just, instead of like getting rid of the pathways other than the ones that are like optimal for me, I think I'll just get rid of all the pathways, and then I'll put down a new optimal pathway for myself to help me get around a little bit easier. I think that's the right way to do it. Is there a hole in the fence? I think our fence is okay. It will degrade eventually. But yeah, slimes can just escape whenever they want. I think it would be fair to have it as an optional second goal. Now let me just get a feel for what people are thinking here. Let's do a little quick poll here. Should color-based slime drops be required for this challenge? If you don't know what that means, you can breed different slimes of different colors. The only ones you'd really have to breed would be black slimes in order to get the Bixite and the Neptunite. And you can do that, even though you can technically lock yourself out of doing it if you're not paying attention. But you should be able to do it. But I'll leave it up to people's interpretation here. Let's see what people are feeling. I have a feeling I know the direction this poll is going to go based on the sentiment in chat. But we'll put it out there anyway. Like I said I said it was one of the very first things I said when I was introducing this challenge back on the first stream. When I say everything, I kind of mean everything. And should I say everything except this one thing for these specific reasons? That doesn't sound as good, right? Everything should mean everything. Although I guess you could make the argument like, well, if everything means everything, then why am I not getting like all the clothes and the furniture and stuff? So there is a precedent for it. It's just, is that precedent? Is that line drawn before or after color-based black slime drops? Where is that line drawn? And for different people, it's going to be drawn in different places. The poll is null. He's already chosen. I haven't chosen yet. I'm talking things through here. I'm talking things through. So that we know, so that we're all on the same page. Currently, 64% of chat says that color-based slime drops should not count. Which I think is I think that's fair. I think that's fair that color-based slime drops should probably not count. I think there's good reasons for it not to count. And even though my challenge-oriented brain is telling me to just bite the bullet and do it, I don't know, man. I'd have to look into the numbers again to know exactly how hard it is to make black slimes. If they couldn't escape, then maybe, yeah. Yeah, the escaping of the slimes. Number one, great name for like a science fiction novel. Number two, that's probably the main crux of like why I wouldn't want to make it a thing, because like that's completely out of your control, whether with like which slimes escape and when. Think about it this way. Clothes and furniture can't escape. Slimes can. That's a really funny sentence out of context. Clothes and furniture can't escape. I love that. Am I missing a tree over there? Kind of looks like it. Hold on. Nope. It's just well hidden behind the cherry blossom tree. You need a hutch for a witch to get you black slimes. That's the easiest way to get black slimes, but you can technically get them just by, like, breeding the right way. It's just really annoying. Oh no, my shirt is running away. Doesn't that happen in like a Dr. Seuss book or something like that? Where the person's clothes come to life and they start running away from them? I feel like I've read a Dr. Seuss book to that effect in the past. Alright. 12:40 p.m. All trees are chopped. Now we can start taking care of other business here. Your socks keep running away. Oh no, there's some trees here I missed. My bad. If there are any clothes that are able to run away, it certainly would be socks, right? Everyone's got a story about, like, socks that have gone missing in the laundry at some point. I think the actual reason for that happening, like, there's been, like, some scientific study into that as to, like, why socks can sometimes disappear in the laundry. And I think it's, like, the socks, depending on, like, the kind of washer you have, socks can get, like, sucked up into, like, a crack and get stuck between, like, the spinning drum of the washing machine and, like, the outer shell of the washing machine. I think I heard that somewhere. I don't know how much validity there is to that. And I guess it's just most likely to happen with socks because socks tend to be, like, the smallest and, like, easiest, and most lightweight of your clothing that you're washing. So maybe if, like, you took your washing machine apart, then there would be, like, socks, just socks in between the drum and the outer shell. All right, I think it's time. I think it's time to cull some slimes here. This looks pretty cullable to me. Call me Edward Cullen, the way I'm going to town on these slimes. Ooh, Dwarf Scroll 4. I don't know if I have that one yet. I gotta be careful here. There's not that many slimes up there. I don't want to kill all these. Let's, like, lure some of them up here if I can, so there's, like, a bit more of a group to breed going forward. Okay, I think I'm gonna leave it there. We've got, I see 3 male slimes and, well, 4 male slimes and, like, 2 female slimes. So, honestly, that might have been too much of a cull even on that one. Let me try and lure them all a bit closer together here. Get them all clustered up. Come on. Everyone get together. Group huddle, group huddle. I know I don't have the slime charmer ring, so it's making things a lot more annoying here. All right. Can I close the gate? Can I get to the gate and close it? Oh, I closed the gate on them. That's not how you want to do that. Hold on. You don't want them stuck in the gate because then they can't reach the other slimes. There we go. Okay, that should do it. There's this one guy over here, but that's okay. All right. Slime's culled. We got some combat experience out of it. Now we wait for them to build back up again. The most exciting time of the month when you get to cull the slimes, man. And I did not have Dwarf Scroll 4. I had Dwarf Scroll 1 already. A couple times over. Alright. What now? Now I think I start picking up wood paths. Yo, have a good one there, Cum. Thanks for dropping on in. Good to see you. Touch slimes to feel alive. I'm gonna end this poll. 68% of people say nay. They say, wait, they say to color-based slime drops for this challenge. And you know what? I'm a man of the people. We will not be adding Bixite or Neptunite to our list of to our checklist of goals. You have my word on that. And thank you, because that could have been, I mean, whoops, didn't realize that was going to be a tree there. Because that would be, I mean, we're already signed up for a few pretty awful grinds here, so I think it's fine. Can we check some stuff off the list? I can check off Dwarf Scroll 4 off the list, now that you mention it. I don't know if I've gotten anything else today. Dwarf Scroll 4. Or I can check off Dwarf Scroll 1. I never checked that off. I don't know if there's anything else. Anything else anyone can think of that I've done on this list that can be checked off? Exclamation point checklist. And feel free to scour that for anything that I might have done that I haven't checked off yet. I haven't done a lot of the shipping goals that I probably could do, like ship fiber and, well, I've done ship wood, but like ship fibers, coal, stone, and stuff, just because I don't really need to just yet. So there are things on there that I could do right now that I just haven't done yet. But if there's something that you think I've already done and you see it on there, then feel free to let me know. Dang it, dude. I miss my swift pickaxe from Fleeting Farm, bro. I'm so spoiled. I'm so used to things here. Shipping goals are good to have done, so there's less to do on the brain. You know, that's a good point. I could probably knock out some of those shipping goals just to, like, you know, get the dopamine from completing those goals and be that much closer to technically having completed this part of the challenge. Wait, what did OJ say? I've done some extra math. Each tree spot gives you an average of, on average, 0.3329 chops a day. So shaking gives you a 0.0012% chance a day, and chopping gives you a 0.001332% chance a day. Those are some small numbers, but what you're telling me, I see chopping is a slightly less small number than shaking. So we're still winning. Big chopping is still winning. The lumberjack lifestyle is still the way for me. Is that the TLDR, Cheroje? I appreciate you crunching the numbers, by the way. I'm definitely a numbers-oriented individual, which you probably wouldn't have guessed. Slightly higher odds for chopping. Let's go! Any choppers rise up? Any choppers? Anyone joining me in this chopping? We're gonna split the community, man. Choppers versus shakers. Shaker is literally crying and trembling right now. Here's the interesting thing, is that shaking, because shaking, you have a 5% chance to get a tree seed, right? And you need to get that tree seed in order to have a chance at bait and bobber. So shaking is more of like a gamble, right? Because you could have a bunch of trees right in a row that all give you tree seeds and thus all give you chances at bait and bobber. So it's like a higher risk, higher reward play. You get less consistency than with chopping trees, but you have higher chances for like big plays like that. So if you're like a gambler, then maybe shaking is the way to go. And now that I say that, I'm like, wait a minute. I am a gambler. I love to gamble, man, at least in video games. I don't like gambling with real money, but in games, that's my bread and butter, dude. You don't understand that logic? I mean, it's a gamble no matter what you do, I guess, so... It's still, I mean, yeah, actually, you know what? We can just do both anyway, because we're still shaking the trees on our first chop every time anyway, like I said, so... We get the best of both worlds. Have a good one there, Ember. Thanks for hanging out. Take care. Shaking is still so much faster. It's faster as, like, an action. Like, as a thing that you do. You can shake a lot more trees than you can chop. But have you considered that chopping trees is more fun and rewarding? And you get more resources. You're shaking trees, you just get, like, the occasional tree seed and mystery box, and what the heck are you going to do with that? If you're not chopping the trees, what do you need the tree seeds for? You're just building up pine cones and acorns and maple seeds for no freaking reason. Unless you're planning way ahead to get, like, a bunch of mystic trees. Alright, careful here. Don't want to step outside the farm. We're chill. faster, but we still have to kill monsters. So many different considerations when it comes to time investment here. But you know what I don't have to consider? You know what I don't have any worries about? Is that this song can always come around and brighten my day a little bit. The serenade of the raccoons right in my ears. I've never even met a raccoon, man. Not in this life. But they're still here. They're still cheering. Wait, isn't it true lore that the raccoon quest doesn't unlock until you complete the greenhouse? Because the raccoons are living, like, in the debris of the greenhouse? So they're here, man. They're with me. I can't see them, but they're here. That's true lore. Oh my gosh, I never thought about that. The raccoons are here. Whether we want them or not. And, I mean, why wouldn't we want them? They're not stealing from me like they are in Fleeting Farm, so... As far as I'm concerned, they're nothing but friends here. Nothing but positives. Especially if they sing to me more like that. Has to be living in the hole that we see in the floor. Oh, right, in that little thing there. That would be cool if there was, like, an Easter egg where you could... Or, like there was just, like, a chance, like a Bigfoot sighting, to see a raccoon somewhere in the midst of, like, this debris. That would be fun. And it would be a clue... And it could possibly even be, like, a good, like, mechanical clue to be like, hey, maybe you should do something with this greenhouse. I don't know. I mean, I know the clue itself is like that when you get the greenhouse cutscene of like the Junimos restoring the greenhouse, you see the raccoon run out of it and you're like, what the heck's that raccoon doing there? Where's he going? And then you like, and then that unlocks eventually the windswept tree cutscene or whatever it is. Maybe a pair of blinking eyes in that hole. Modders, get on it. A couple slimes there, but I don't have enough time to kill them, unfortunately. Not with my piddly little scythe. Of course you wouldn't know, you skip cutscenes. The first time I saw it, I don't think I was, like, even streaming the first time I saw it. I was doing something else, like, trying to get, like, some footage or something for something. And I like, completed that greenhouse cutscene, and I saw the raccoons jump out of there, and I was, like, very pleasantly surprised. I was like, wait, that's so cute. Alright, pathways going there for right now. We'll go ahead and chop some trees up here. Dude, it looks so much cleaner without the pathways. Ooh, look at this. I can actually see the ground underneath. So nice. I didn't realize, like, I knew that those pathways were not the most aesthetically pleasing, but I didn't realize, like, how much I really did not like them until they were gone again. Why would viewing a raccoon trigger a windstorm? Sarah asking the real questions here. The only possible answer is that raccoons are secretly controllers of the weather. They're secretly, like, weather mages or something like that. And they were being lazy, just hanging out in the greenhouse and just letting the weather do whatever it wanted. And now they needed a new home, so they came out, and they were like, well, we need a new home, but we're not going to build our own home ourselves. We're lazy. So we're going to get someone else to do it. And the best way they could figure to do that was to blow over a big old tree to draw over attention. So that what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. A nice farmer can just come along and be like, yo, I'm going to build you a house. And then they do build the house with all those many hardwood resources. And then you move into it and you live there free of charge. And you're like, thanks, Bobo. But it's not enough for you because you're greedy. You're greedy. You're so greedy. And you just need to go ask them for more and more. They gave you a whole house. A whole house. Maybe you're just trying to get back at them because you understand that they're the reason that you don't have your old house at the greenhouse anymore. I think I'm making up my own fan fiction for the raccoons right now. Oh, what did Mary say? Hold on. Mary got the living hat? Let's freaking go. Can you send one my way, please? No, that's awesome. Huge congratulations. Streamer luck is real. It just doesn't always manifest for the streamer. Sometimes it skips a generation and goes down to chat instead. Fantastic. Which way do I want this to fall? I want it to fall this way, because then I at least have a chance of getting some of the wood. Yes, indeedy. I was going to say something before. Oh, it was about the weather. I thought about this the other day, and there's probably a great answer for it, and I'm hoping someone in chat does have great answers for me. With all the amazing technological and engineering capabilities that humanity is capable of in this modern day, how is it that we haven't figured out a way to make our own weather? Is weather really just that complicated that, like, we can't induce a rainstorm when we need it for, like, you know, to, like, avoid droughts and stuff? We can. We kinda have. I've heard about seeding clouds before, but I guess it's just not like a reliable thing. Weather is absurdly complicated. They're called greenhouses. I got another copy of Woody's Secret for anyone counting. Weather is real complicated. That much I know. I don't know. I figured, like, we've solved such complicated problems before. Like, you hear about, like, wildfires and droughts and stuff, and it's like, couldn't we just, like, make it rain over those places? Earth is big, dude. I mean, I guess, when you put it like that. Earth do be pretty big. Probably shouldn't be meddling too much, though. I mean, that hasn't stopped us before. Earth is so big, would have to be a global collaborative effort. I guess that's fair. Like, different, like, weather systems, like, you change weather in one place, and it's gonna have a huge butterfly effect down the line, right? Where it's like you make it rain in one place, and that's gonna completely change the weather in some place so far off that you can't even predict it. Because weather, as you said, is so complicated that even if you have the initial conditions, you can only predict it within, like, a certain degree of accuracy. That's why weather reports are notoriously unreliable. Okay, I'm starting to talk myself into the reasoning as to why we haven't really, like, why that hasn't become, like, a big thing. Possible in theory, but very difficult in practice. I wonder if one day that will be a thing. Like, if you, like, were to, like, jump in a time machine and go ahead and go into the future, like, 1,000 years, will we be living in, like, a world where it's, like, we can induce our own weather on a whim like that? Will we just be living in giant greenhouses that can have their own climates and ecosystems? Because we've given up on trying to repair the Earth? I hope not. I hope we do manage to come back from our climate crisis. But exclamation point optimism. This isn't the place to be talking about that sort of stuff. This is where you come to try and escape from those kind of woes of the world. At least I do. Will we be crabs? What's that process? It's like carcinogizing or something? That's to do with, like, cancer. Well, which I guess would make sense, because cancer the crab. But that's, like, with the propensity for all life to evolve into crabs eventually. Carcination. Carcination, yeah. I've heard about that one. That's fun, man. I'd love to be a crab. If I could be a crab, but also still have the benefits of being human. If I could just be, like, a human-sized crab. Dude, that'd be kind of awesome. But I still want my fingers. Is that okay? Can crabs have fingers? I'm picturing it in my head right now, and I've decided that I don't want crabs to have fingers. I think they're fine with claws. Crabs have 2 fingers. Are claws fingers? Is butt legs? Many such questions. Gotta ask Hank Green about that one. Is hot dog sandwich? That's the quintessential one. If you want to know my take on it, by the way, I am of the opinion that butt is legs for sure. I'm willing to hear arguments to the contrary, but in my opinion, butt is legs for sure. Butt is definitely legs. Butt is anatomically, biologically legs. See, that's what I'm saying. It's like where do the legs end and the butt begins? I think it's all just like one thing. But then that starts to raise the question. It's like, well, okay, if butt is legs, then is back also legs? And it's like, no, bro. It's like when like the cleft ends, that should be where the legs end, right? That makes sense in my brain. Hips, anatomically, that seems to make sense, right? What's happening? These are the kind of conversations we get lined up for when you have like a stream like this where it's just all the same thing over and over again. Are hips legs or back? I think hips are legs for sure. I think hips are like the apex of legs, probably. That's like right on the border of legs. Or maybe hips are just their own thing that connect legs to torso. Maybe it doesn't have to like fall into one category or another. Maybe it's just like the joint that makes the system. It's like the glue that keeps it all held together. Hips are hips, yeah. Are shoulders arms? I think same thing. I think shoulders are the connective tissue. Not literally, they're the connective bone between what's your upper arm bone called? That one. And your whatever else, the clavicle maybe that it connects to after that. I never took biology. Can you tell? All legs are butt. That's not true, I don't think. I think human legs are butt, but like a quadruped, like cats. Are cat legs also cat butt? I don't think so, man. At least not the front legs. You can make an argument for the back legs, but for the front legs, I don't know about that one, man. Where do the front legs end? The front legs, surely... Do cats have 2 sets of hips? Do they call them hips? I've never thought about that. Do quadrupeds have like 2 sets of hips? How does that work? I'm confusing myself too much, man. Oh no, maybe this is a sign that I should be ending the stream because I'm gonna get a headache if I keep talking about this. 1 butt, 2 cheeks. It's shoulders. Wait, so are the front legs actually arms? So do cats have arms? You know what? I've run into this problem before, into this specific nomenclatural problem in the most unexpected of places. When I was writing My Little Pony fan fiction back in the day, you would always run into a situation where, like, the ponies have to use, like, their front legs for something, but it's really awkward to say front legs, right? So usually I would just write, like, Twilight used her arms for such and such thing. And I'm like, at the time I was like, do ponies actually have arms? And I'm like, well, it doesn't really matter in this case, like, anatomically speaking, because, like, when you're writing, it doesn't always have to make, like, actual literal sense. Sometimes the best path is just, like, write what, you know, people will understand. But now that I think about it, from like a philosophical and potentially biological point of view, do quadrupeds, are their front legs just arms? I think they might be, bro. Just because they've got the same appendages at the end, they've got the same feet as their legs, does that make them any less arms? What defines an arm? Does an arm have to have a hand? Or is an arm just an appendage that extends from a shoulder? What's the defining part of the arm, the shoulder or the hand? Or is it something else entirely? Because, like, even as humans, as bipedal humans, you can use your arms as legs. You can go down on all fours. And the fact that you're calling it all fours lends me to believe that legs and arms are basically just, like, interchangeable in that sense anyway. Because if they're calling them all fours, you're saying all four of your limbs. And the limbs are, like, like, you could... It probably wouldn't... I don't know, man. Do we arguably have front legs? Do we have front legs or do we have back arms? Or would you even call them back arms because we stand upright? So would it be bottom arms instead? And to that point, why is your butt called your bottom if it's in the middle of your body? I can't, man. I guess it's at the end of your reproductive system. Not your reproductive system, your digestive system. Your reproductive system is different. Anyway, long story short, butt is legs for sure. Your eyes are in the middle of your face. Is that real? Is that true? I guess depending on your perspective. Health class with Argon. Don't think too hard about it, buddy. Biology is weird. I knew there was a reason I didn't take biology, or maybe it's because I didn't take biology and then now I have all these questions that may or may not have good answers. You think arms have a higher range of motion than legs do? Technically, you can do splits and stuff with legs, but it's less likely. I mean, but what about people who, like, have their arms amputated or something? Like, that, if you don't have arms in the first place... Don't people, like, can't people adapt to use their legs and feet in much more dexterous ways? So is it that, you know, arms are more dexterous by default, or that just we don't use our legs in that same way? Don't think I'm approaching the language the right way. We can call them that because it works, not because it fits one divinely ordained biological description. Small Kidney Joe coming in and cutting through to the very heart of the conversation. It's that's literally all it is. It's just language versus, like, reality. It's what we call it versus what it actually is. And it's like, those don't always line up one-to-one. Language isn't real. I mean, language is just a construct, it's true. It's a very useful construct, but it is just a thing we made up. Do you think people were freaking out back when language was, like, first invented? Like, what do you think was the first word any person ever said? The first word that was said with, like, a specific meaning in mind, not just like a sound they made with their mouth that sounds like some word you might recognize, but they said it because they wanted to say something. That's a good question, man. I doubt there's any, like, known answer to that, but I mean, there might be an answer to, like, the first written word, because that might have, like, some, or at least the first documented written word. The first written word is probably lost to time, but if I had to place a bet, I would probably say the first word spoken with, like, some intention might be, like, something that means food. It wouldn't be literally, like, the word food, F-O-O-D, but, like, a meaning that's like, let's go get food, or I'm hungry, or something like that. Or it could be, like, yes or no. Yes or no, yeah. Food, yes or no. Those are all safe bets, I think. Poison or danger. I think poison, like, danger, food, run, maybe, like, run, like, to get away from something. That might be a little more a little bit like second order language, though. What do animals talk about? I mean, the core essence of life when it comes to animals is eating, sleeping, and reproducing. So the first words might have been like food, tired, or sex. There you go. Those are the three you get to choose from. Pick your poison. Animals say food, sleep, and danger. Yeah, I think that pretty much captures it, yeah. Food, tired, sex. That just captures the experience of life for most living organisms, I think, yeah. So it must have been something along those lines. But you know what? Reality is often, like, unexpected. Reality works in unexpected ways. So, like, what if the first word was actually something like, you know... What if it was something more complicated than that? What if it was... You know what would mess me up, man? What if the first word ever said was 2, like TWO or some number like that, that wasn't 1? So that would imply that, like, that number existed in the thoughts and consciousness of people who could speak before the number 1 did. Like, what if 2 came before 1, man? Oh, no. Will we ever know? That kind of messes me up. Kuro Okami, thank you for 37 months at the positron level, by the way. Thank you. My cat says many things. No way, she's a cat girl. Oh, I love that. Well, much love to you and your cat girl. We've gone back to maths. It's like the conversation of what the first Pokemon is. Well, is the first Pokemon in, like, the lore of Pokemon itself? Like, within the world of Pokemon that we want to discuss? Or is it the first Pokemon as created by the developers of the game Pokemon? Because that one has, I think, an actual answer. I think the answer to that one is Clefairy. No, is it Rhyhorn? I think it's Rhyhorn. I think Rhyhorn was the first Pokemon ever conceived. Clefairy came to mind because Clefairy was originally going to be like the mascot of Pokemon before Pikachu became popular, I think. Yeah, Rhyhorn or Rhydon, one of the two. Lily, thank you for the 10 months at the Neutron level, by the way. Still have no clue what's happening, but you had a whole time here. Enjoy the rest of the stream. Thank you for being here. Much love to you. Appreciate you, and have a good one. As for, like, the first Pokemon, like, evolutionarily within the world of Pokemon, I don't even know if I could hazard a guess. I guess it would have to be Arceus, right? I guess Arceus, technically, because there's the creation trio. There's Arceus came first, made Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina for time, space, and other. Time, space, and, like, antimatter, basically. And what the heck? What happened from there, though? That's where things get real interesting. Who is the first non-legendary Pokemon? That could be an interesting discussion. Like, when did the legendary Pokemon who were, like, creating all this stuff in the early, like, primordial days of Pokemon, when did Arceus just, like, get bored one day and be like, you know what? Rattata. And then they made Sludge. I mean, I guess that would be Grimer, probably. Mew. But Mew is like well, it's a mythical Pokemon. It's not a legendary technically, but that's semantics. Rattata be upon ye. mean, maybe it's not even that complicated. Maybe they just made them in Pokedex order. What if it was just like freaking Bulbasaur first? And I know what you're going to say. I know you're going to say, some of you smart Alex out there are going to be like, actually, Victini is number 0 in the Pokedex. Victini is number 0 in the Unova Pokedex. Victini is number 494 in the National Pokedex. There is no number 0 in the National Pokedex. Checkmate. Checkmate, Professor Oak. Victini is 0 in the Unova Index. That's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying that this whole time. What if God made Unova first? Well, even so, I don't think the Pokedex order is actually probably anything beyond the order that they were discovered by humans, right? Technically, mythicals are rarer than legendaries, and it's just your head. Mythical Pokemon you can only get through events. Yeah, mythicals are... I don't know if, like, canonically in the world of Pokemon they're rarer than legendaries. I guess they... Actually, I don't know. Legendary Pokemon, like, some legendary Pokemon in the world of Pokemon, I think there's, like, canonically only one of them, right? Versus, like, mythical Pokemon, like, there could be more. I think there can be more of certain legendaries as well, but, like, I think legendaries are conceived with the idea, at least some of them, that there's only supposed to be one. Missing No is number 0 in the original Pokedex, so that means it's 0 in the National Dex as well. Well, Missing No is just a... It's a glitch. He's not supposed to exist. What type is Missing No? He's like bird type or something, right? Not flying type, bird type. It's like bird normal or something. The fact that he even has a type is really funny. I mean, it's just a mess of garbage data, so. Is it? I think so. I passed the 3-hour mark now. I have been looking at that. I mean, I'm still enjoying myself right now, but I probably will call it a stream before too long here. Yeah, let me verify that. Hey Siri. What type of Pokemon is Missing No?
Okay, I found this on the web. For what type of Pokemon is Missing No? Check it out.
I can't believe she, like, I was hoping she would actually, like, say it out loud, but Missing No. Missing No is a bird normal type Pokemon. Category, the question mark Pokemon. Missing No is a missing, as in missing number. It's displayed in his game. It's bird normal type. The fact that, like, the most esoteric, bizarre Pokemon of all time is somehow normal type is really funny. Has the Pokemon Company or Nintendo or anybody ever, like, acknowledged Missing No? Because it's, like, a very popular, like, thing among fans, for sure. But they probably haven't acknowledged it, right? Because it's, like, technically, like, not supposed to be... It's just, like, a glitch, a bug in their system. So it's like, why would they want to acknowledge that? But, like, at a certain point, I feel like it would be good to embrace something like that. Yeah, it's bird type, not flying type. I think bird type was, like, a beta Pokemon type that they were testing out before they changed it to flying type. That way, like, flying could encapsulate more variety. Because, like, you couldn't have, like, a bird type Zubat or something. I guess you could, but... Crazy use it. Mewtwo is a Pokemon, but it's also an experiment. It's a legendary, but not through natural means. That is true. Is Type Null the same way? Is Type Null the modern-day Mewtwo? I don't remember the lore behind Type Null and Silvally. I don't know if they're naturally occurring. or if they were... I think they were human-made to try and, like, replicate Arceus, right? Because that's why... Isn't Type Null or Silvali's... I think it's Silvali's ability is, like, literally called the RKS system. Like, Arceus system. And it does, like, basically the same thing as Arceus's multi-type ability. Which is a really... I mean, it's a clever naming convention. I'll give them that. Husband can confirm it's not naturally made. It's been a while since I played Sun and Moon, so I wasn't sure, but I felt reasonably confident about that. Glad to have the confirmation. Ultra Beasts aren't even Pokemon, technically. That is true. They come from, like, Ultra Space or something, and they just classify them as Pokemon, because they're like, they got nothing better to classify them as. That would kind of be like, I guess, if, like, aliens came to visit Earth, and we classified them as animals because we didn't have, like, a better classification. It's like, well, we've got, like, we can't classify you as, like, I guess we could just call you an alien, but that doesn't really meet our rigorous scientific criteria. So guess what, buddy? You're a mammal now. Come on, Wilderness Golem. It's always an exciting time when you see a Wilderness Golem, man. You got chances for good stuff. Diamonds. Living Hat. Probably just going to be mixed seeds and or fiber. Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. Dude, he's so bulky. I mean, I am only doing 1 damage at a time, but... Fiber and coal. Womp womp. One of these days. One of these days. Why I oughta. Are we gonna check the TV during summer to know when the Green Rain Day is? I haven't been doing that. I've basically just been like, you know, when Green Rain happens, it's a pleasant surprise. Because, like, I can't really, like, plan for... I guess I can plan for Green Rain Day. Like, I can cut down a bunch of trees and leave a big space open for, like, fiber and stuff. But I haven't been doing that because I've just been going with the momentum. I think what I'm going to do here, by the way, because I did say... Yeah, I probably want to end this stream relatively soon here. I'm probably going to go until summer here. And then we'll call it there. I didn't get through as much as I thought I would, because honestly, it's because, like, I did this whole thing trying to decide which was better, shaking or chopping trees. We finally figured out that chopping trees is ultimately going to be better, but now I have to fix the mess that I made. But we're almost back to where I was, and then things can go back to relative normalcy. What's my favorite Pokemon? I kind of flip-flop between a few of them. Right now, I would still say it's Hatchram. I have a Hatchram plushie on my shelf behind me right now. But I'm also very partial to Spiritomb. And I like Gibble. I think Gibble's a cute little guy. All right. One final day of spring here. Literally only got, like, 2 weeks done this stream. We started in, like, the middle of spring here. Things normally go a little bit faster because there's not normally as much to do here, but we're still trying to figure out the best way to do a lot of this stuff, so to be expected. Any Minior lovers in chat? Minior definitely is in the upper echelons of, like, some of my favorite Pokemon. He's probably in, like, the top 100 favorite Pokemon for me, I would say. I don't know where specifically. Maybe one day I'll make a list, although that would be that would be tough, man. Trying to make a list of every Pokemon in the order that you like them the most. A full tier list of Pokemon like that. Not even a tier list, it would be like a ranked list. Oh man, I'm sure people have done it, but I don't know if I'm willing to invest the time into that one. There's a website for that? That makes sense. It would make sense for there to be a website. You made a Pokemon tier list before. It takes at least 10 hours. So for me, if I did a Pokemon tier list stream, it would probably take me like 25 hours because I'd be sitting here talking about all the different Pokemon. It could be fun. Could be fun to do something like that. And maybe at least like top 100 favorite Pokemon or something like that. That might be a little more realistic. When you click through all the Pokemon based on vibes. You mean like Markiplier? Smash or pass? I'm not about to do that. But he did popularize it. Beedrill is peak. I think Beedrill was the first Pokemon that Markiplier said smash to. Am I wrong about that? I don't know. It's been a while since I watched that video. Thanks, Markiplier. You left for a second, you just heard Markiplier said smash or pass. I mean, it's a great video, man. It's a great video. Made even better by the fact he doesn't preface it or anything. He just, like, sits down in front of a list of Pokemon and starts saying smash or pass. It's kind of magical. Markiplier's built different, man. Just released it out of nowhere and didn't elaborate. Exactly. It was so good. If I was a Stardew villager, what would my loved, liked, and hated gifts be? I've thought about that in the past a little bit. I'd have to, like, sit down and look through, like, all the different items and stuff to know for sure. I mean, off the top of my head, I have a pretty big sweet tooth, so any, like, sweet foods, there would probably be at least one of them that would be a loved gift for me. I think maybe, like pumpkin pie, I could see possibly being a loved gift for me. I do love myself some pumpkin pie. I also really like eggs. Like, I have eggs basically every morning for breakfast. So some kind of egg dish. Like an omelet or something, maybe. Not necessarily like raw eggs, like Alex style, where he eats 5 dozen eggs to get large. Nothing quite so ambitious. But I like to eat my eggs. Oh, 7 to all that wood. You hate to see it. There's not really a great way to chop the tree in this position, though, unfortunately. Especially because I don't have any magnetism or anything. Alright, I think that was all the trees. Nope, there's one down here. Then I can start chopping some of these pathways back up again today. Try and finish that up before it gets dark. Which trinket or trash would I like? Which trash would I like? I mean, if you're holding a gun to my head and telling me you have to like one of the trash items in Stardew Valley, which one are you picking? I guess I'm probably going Joja Cola. Because it's probably not like the best soda you've ever had, but like it's at least still soda. It's something you can consume. It's serviceable, I'm sure. Versus like broken CDs and trash bags and soggy newspapers and stuff. I just don't really have like room in my life for that kind of thing. I guess maybe driftwood. Driftwood is actually kind of cool. Depending on like the size of the log and the shape of the log. Like people will like get driftwood and just like put it up on their like mantle above their fireplace. You know, just saying that makes me wonder. Chat, show one in chat if you have a fireplace slash mantle. I guess not all fireplaces have mantles. 1 in chat if you have a mantle. 2 in chat if you don't have a mantle. I feel like you used to... I mean, it would just be a built-in component to every house in the past. A fireplace with a mantle and stuff. But I don't know if they're as common now. They're definitely not in, like, apartments and stuff, right? 2, 2, 2. There's still a decent amount of 1s in there, but I do think more people don't have mantles than do have a mantle. I'm trying to think if I've ever seen a fireplace without a mantle. I think I probably have. One that's just, like, built into the wall with, like, nothing above it. What is the rationale behind, like, a mantle above a fireplace? Like, why is that a thing? Is it just because, like, the fireplace comes as, like, a unit that you, like, build into the wall, but it has to, like... It's got to be to do with, like, the architecture of how they built fireplaces back in the day, right? Like, it can't just be like an aesthetic thing. Like, the fireplace mantle probably came into being for a practical purpose, right? To display artwork. I mean, that's what people use it for, like, in modern times, for sure. It's like for art and stuff. But was it always that, or was there an actual, like, practical reason that, like, well, you have to build it this way, and that leaves a little shelf above the fireplace that you can put stuff on? Google says it's to direct smoke. That's what I was wondering. Like, is it like an extension of, like, the chimney? Because the chimney is obviously to direct smoke. And I was wondering, like, is the mantle a part of that equation somehow? Nowadays, it's probably not as relevant. Because, I mean, a lot of places don't even have fireplaces to begin with. A shelf to put your candles and matches on. I don't think we have... we do have a fireplace in the place that I'm currently living, and there's like a mantle and everything. We don't put candles up there, though. That strikes me as a little... I don't know. I mean, it's probably a common thing to do, but like putting candles on top of a mantle, like you already have the fireplace. Why do you need more fire? Do you just have like a fire corner in your house where you put all the flammable stuff? I don't know if that's wise. It's either really smart or really not smart. Because, like, at least, like, if your house, like, if fire's gonna start, you know where it's gonna come from, and you'll be prepared. At least you have, like, a fire extinguisher there somewhere. What is this song? This is... Hold on a second. Oh, this is from the Pokemon card game. I forget the name of it. The mobile Pokemon card game. It's called My Cards from the Pokemon TCG on mobile. That's what that one is. I was looking at it because, like, the name I have on my end is weird. It was just giving me, like, the composition and, like, the arrangement and, like, the names of the people who made it. But then I saw the name My Cards, and I was like, oh, yeah, now I remember. Maybe it was originally also used to hold cookware. Oh, that would make sense, because people would use, like, fireplaces as actual stoves and stuff as well, right? So it would be a mantle would be like a convenient spot to hold something. I'm also kind of interested about, like, the etymology of the word mantle itself, because mantle, it's not a word you hear all that often. Like, there's 3 different kinds of mantles that come to mind when I hear the word. There's the fireplace mantle. There's the mantle of the earth, like that layer of the earth that's called the mantle. And there is, like, a piece of clothing, like a kind of cloak that you wear could be called a mantle. Isn't a mantle, like, it's like a shoulder cloak. It's like a cloak that doesn't extend beyond, like, your shoulder bones or something like that. Is that what that is? Or it's like the top part of a cloak, perhaps? I wonder if those all have, like, the same common ancestor when it comes to, like, etymology. Like, do all those forms of mantle come from the same place, or were they derived separately? Usually there's at least, like, some commonalities between them, right? If it's the same word but used in multiple different contexts, there's usually a reason why it is the same word. They do seem to share some common themes. I can understand, like, the mantle, like a fireplace mantle and a cloak mantle kind of having some common themes. Like, they're both, like you can... I mean, it's weird to say, and maybe this only makes sense to me, but I can kind of understand if someone called, like, the mantle of a fireplace the shoulders of the fireplace. Like, that makes sense in my head. I don't know if I can really clarify it any better than that, but it just makes sense. But is the mantle of the earth the shoulders of the earth? I don't think so, bro. I don't think the earth has shoulders. If anything, I think the mantle of the earth would be like the, like, abs of the earth or something, right? Well, I guess the abs would just be the core. That's literally like your core. But it would be like, I don't know, like your deltoids or something. The mantle of the earth is not the shoulders. Is the mantle like the spine, maybe? The spine of the earth? Because there could be an argument there as well. Like the mantle of the fireplace attaches to the chimney, and the chimney is definitely like the spine of the fireplace. Closest analogy. You're talking like it's European time and you should be heading to sleep. It's 3:30 in the afternoon. We get wild here early. Have a good one there, Fresh Funk Produce. Take care. The mantle surrounds the earth like a cloak. What are the layers? The layers of the earth, the mantle is not the first layer of the earth, right? The crust is the first layer. That's like the very thin outer layer. Does it go crust and then mantle? Or is there something in between those? I think the mantle is like if you were to break the earth up if you were to break the earth up by layer, the most massive layer by far would be the mantle, right? Like the mantle is like 50% of the earth's mass comes from the mantle or something like that, right? Maybe not 50%, but like a sizable portion. Mantle is the biggest. So if we were to keep with like the biology analogy, it wouldn't make sense to call the mantle the skin of the earth. Like I was thinking like the skin, your skin is the biggest organ of the human body. But that wouldn't make sense. Like the crust would be the skin, and then I guess the mantle is just the skeleton. It's just like the whole bones, right? It's just all the bones. Without the mantle, there is no earth. It's the meat. It's the fat. I mean, where does most of the mass of a human come from? Does the mass of a human come from muscle, mainly? It's like a combination of muscle and fat. Those are like the things you can like really like control for your own mass. But like, how much does your skeleton take up mass-wise? Or how heavy are bones? I feel like muscle, like the density of muscle and fat is definitely going to make them heavier overall, right? But bones don't contribute nothing. Our bones are technically hollow, like a bird? Wait. Do you mean they're hollow, or do you mean they're porous? Those are, like, different things. Like, bones are not as dense as muscle, I don't think. Birds don't have marrow. Yeah, birds have, like, actually hollow bones, right? That's one of the things that helps them fly. Porous filled with blood. Okay, that makes sense. Argon's take on biology. Biologists all over the world are crying. I'm not trying to imply anything here. I'm not out here saying, like, bones are the heaviest part of the body. I'm trying to learn. I never took biology. I need the biologists of the world to come together and help me. Help me. Our bones are hollow too. They just have jelly on the inside. I guess that's a valid point. Just because something is filled up doesn't mean it's not hollow anymore. Or does it? Wait. If you fill up something that's hollow, isn't it no longer hollow? It can be hollow again, but it's not hollow right now. Anyway, I think that's probably a good point to end things off here. We're getting into summer. We're going down another peculiar rabbit hole for sure. Another semantic rabbit hole. Summer has arrived, which does mean I'll be planting more mixed seeds and stuff, but that'll wait for next time. Also, by the way, I should say this. I don't think I said this at all this stream. I actually might have, but I do intend to play this challenge both on and off stream just because there's so much like time investment required for this challenge. So next time you see me stream this, we probably won't be in summer here. The only reason that like this was contiguous with the other stream that I did about it recently is because I was away on a road trip, so like I didn't have a chance to play this, but I probably will be playing this off stream as well. And we just got to the interesting parts of the conversation. What did we accomplish this stream? We got Dwarf Scroll 4. We did not level up in any capacity. We didn't even get any skill books. We put down a lot of pathways, and then we picked up all those pathways again. And we did chop a lot of trees. We had a lot of chances for Bait and Bobber and other such books, but no dice. As far as, like, actual progress made, it was mainly, like, we gathered some mushrooms, killed some monsters, a few golems slain. No, like, huge tangible progress. Probably, like, the highlight would be, like, Dwarf Scroll 4, I guess, because I did need that eventually, but I probably would have gotten it eventually just based on the sheer volume of monsters I have to kill, so still cool to see. I digress. Chat, thank you very much for joining me for this leg of this challenge. I'll be back tomorrow with more Fleeting Farm. We'll be closing out Summer of Year 4 in Fleeting Farm and all of its intense intricacies. Let me see. Is there anyone I can raid right now? Anyone live? Any Stardew streamers or the like who are live right now? Anytime I remember that raiding is a thing, I always have to check. Nope. No one is live. At least not in my, no one's listed in my list here. But over on Twitch, is Algo live? Nope, nobody. But bro, everyone's taking the day off. What the heck? Habu? Is Habu live? Habu's not live. At least he's not showing up as live on my Twitch or on my YouTube. Maybe he has, like, redirects turned off on YouTube or something. I don't know. Either way, we'll just leave it there for now instead. That's fine. Thank you all for being here. Hope you had a fun time. And I'll see you next time. Hopefully tomorrow or whenever else you decide to show up. Until then, friends, be good to one another. Be good to yourselves. This is Argon Matrix, signing on out. Thank you and have a good one, friends. Bye-bye.